Hello. Welcome one and all. I went hi then. Ooh, I think something sprained. Welcome one and all. It is Sunday. It is time for some Warhamster. No, I just said Warhamster. No, Chris, sorry. I don't know why I just said that. It's because there's a Warhamster sticker right there, just out of camera view. And Warhammer Sunday. Warhamster's not my thing. Welcome to Warhammer Sunday, that time of the week when I crack on with my Warhammer building. Normally I carry on with my own army, the Unending forces of the Holy Contrivance, but for the last year or so I've been working on my Warhammer Conquest part work, which is partly funded by my very good friend and patron George, who is going to claim all the Space Marines, and I'm keeping all the Death Guard. So we're going to be carrying on with that, and we are building this Primaris Repulsor with horrible gaps and misfits. We'll get to that in a minute. But before we do, first and foremost, as with all my streams, please let me thank the people that make all this stuff possible. Firstly, my lovely Patreon patrons, we get that wrong, Patreon patrons from patreon.com/modelmakingguru, and my lovely channel members who hit the join button underneath any of my videos to become a channel member. All those people support me financially, support this channel, keep the lights on, keep the electricity going and the food on the table, and they make it possible for me to do this for a living. So massive thank you to all of them. And of course to my corporate supporters who are goblingaming.co.uk and emodels.co.uk, your one-stop shop for all your tabletop gaming and model making needs combined. Do go and check them out. There are links in the description below the video for both those shops. Do make sure you use those links, because those links are affiliate links and they tell them that I sent you and I get some income from that. It doesn't cost you anything, but it helps support this channel massively. So many thank you. Welcome to one and all. If you're watching this embedded anywhere, the typical thing of this show is I sit and build something or try to build something, and in the meantime you guys hang out and chat and have a good time, and we'll have a good time together. Now if you are watching this and you can't see the live chat, there is an archive of the chat there, but I strongly recommend you join in with the live chat because it's great fun. That's what it's all about, these shows. It doesn't really matter what I'm doing, it's just about hanging out in the chat. So if you're watching this embedded in Twitter or Facebook or Patreon or somewhere else, then just click the YouTube icon that's down under here underneath the player somewhere. That will take to the YouTube page where you can watch the stream and join the live chat. And now I do as always have the chat here in front of me on the iPad, and Guthorm, of course, my stalwart companion, is monitoring the chat for me. If you want to get my attention, please do put your comment in big fat capital letters, because I've got me working glasses on, which give me a depth about this far. I can see about that far, so that's a bit blurry. So put your comment in big fat capital letters, or as Ted would call it, bold, so I have a chance to see your comment. If you want to, you can do a super chat, which is the dollar symbol at the bottom of the chat window. Press that and it'll let you do a super chat, and that puts your comment in a colour box and puts animation up here, and I can't possibly miss your comment then. We don't have to, but massive thanks. Another way to support the channel if you want to do that. Now, before we get going, you might notice, first of all, it seems a little brighter and a little better quality. I have dumped the second camera. I had two cameras set up. I've got two Logitech C920s, and I was trying having two cameras. To allow me to do that, I had to update the drivers from the original old Logitech drivers to modern Windows generic webcam drivers, which meant I could have two cameras, but also made me image quality really crappy. It gave me more control over the image, so I've got like sharpness and contrast and saturation, loads of other things that I didn't have before, but it also balked the quality, so everything looked crap and dark and horrible. If you've been watching any of my live streams or the eModel show for the last few weeks, my quality's just gone down the tubes. So I decided today, you know what, I'd rather have one camera looking at the desk of good quality or better quality with less settings that I can tweak than have two cameras that are both balkish. So I've dumped the second camera. I've not dumped it, it's still there. I'm not using it. I've uninstalled those drivers, gone back to the original Logitech drivers. I've got less control but a better, hopefully, picture quality. Hopefully. Now as well, I also have my new light. If you watched my unboxing video yesterday, I got myself one of them Viltrox lights, and it's here on the side. If I turn it off, it won't make a big difference, but if I turn it off, if I can find the switch, there. Doesn't make a big difference to you on the screen, I know, but it does make a big difference to like when you see things from the side. And I'm actually ordered a second one to go on the other side, so it does make a massive difference to how much light there is for the camera to see, and I can keep my exposure and gamma settings down really low, which helps with frame rate. So yes, I'm really pleased. Unfortunately, it's just over there in my spray booth, which means every time I look at the microphone I blind myself, so yeah, I might stab myself quite a bit more. And today I'm testing out my new instead of using my space helmet of seeing, I'm using my new Flippity lenses. I've ordered some spares of these as well. My new flippity lenses on my model making glasses, which are bottle bottoms because they're for close-up work. These aren't my normal everyday glasses. So it means I can get closer in, but also you're not going to see my space helmet of seeing in the camera. So I've been able to get the camera a bit closer. Yes, everything's coming together and coming up roses. Excuse me. So I'm going to have a swig of coffee. And then we'll crack on, have a look at chat and see who's in. Welcome one and all, though. I hope you're all well and fine and dandy. It's quite nice outside today. It's stopped raining and it's quite pleasant. I've got the heating turned off for once. Let's have a look and see who we have in before we get going. We have, first person I have in chat is Pascal Leverse. Welcome, Pascal. Moar Draka and Quano Man is in. Are in, I should say. David Sanderson, hi to you all. Pascal Leverse is currently preparing his first asset drop title so he can learn new paint techniques. Asset drop's like a loot crate type thing, isn't it, where you get stuff delivered for modelling, for tabletop modelling, I think. We have Sarah Jane is in. Welcome, Sarah Jane. We have some bloke called Model Making Guru. Don't know who that is. Ghost Lyle is in. It says pineapple, 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 pineapple. Not seen you for a while, Ghost Lyle. Welcome, welcome. He says his broadband's been off for a couple of months. And I've got to be honest, if my broadband went off for a couple of months, I'd be like ripping the head off passers-by and clawing at the walls and screaming like a cheerleader, to quote Sam and Max. I couldn't live for 2 months without broadband. I just oh, no internet. I'm nearly typing things out. I don't quite know why. We have Chris at Gross Models is in, one of your lovely fluffy moderators. He's in. The mods will look after you, but don't cross them. They will burn you alive if you cross them. So Ghost Lyle, welcome to see you, Ghost Lyle. You missed you around here. We have Ian Thompson is in. Welcome, Ian. We have... Who else is in? Let's have a look. Nim Cinderin is in. Welcome, Nim. Yes, if you know a few of you are joining us from Colin's stream this morning, I unfortunately wasn't able to watch the Buddy Build stream. I always watch it on a Sunday afternoon, I suppose, at lunchtime. I like to watch it before I get ready for my stream because I love those two when they're together on stream, but I didn't have a chance. I was too busy working editing this morning, so I didn't have a chance. I think I found a kit that Fox will hate more than the old Space Marine bike, says Moar Draka. I don't know, this thing with that big panel out there, that's doing a good job of not making me happy. Who else have we got? Phil Bolton is in. Welcome, Philip. To quote Han Solo, to quote Han Solo, didn't we just leave this party? Quano Mom is throwing water bombs at Sarah Jane. David Butch, that model is in, another one of your mods who will keep you safe and look after you. Welcome, Dave. Let's have a look. How do you... Somebody said, you can borrow Warhamster if you like. You did draw him, says Chris. Oh, thank you. I did, that's true. Common Road Junction is in. Welcome, Common Road Junction. Phil Bolton says he should be in bed. Everybody should be in bed. Osric 9000 is in. Welcome, Osric. As Ted's still... no, Ted's back now. So, is Ted... Yeah, Ted should be back now, so... I can't call you Ostrich now because it's Ted's job. Ted's back now. Darren2159 says, hello everyone, welcome Darren. Your multitasking Perfect Grey Falcon just went live on eModels. That's impossible, it went live on Friday. That's weird. It was supposed to go live on Friday, and I mailed James on Friday. Unless, well, he may have only just posted it up on their Facebook page because he's been away. So, but yes, it went live on Friday. Where are we? Unless I completely forgot to put it to public. That's weird. I don't understand that. I'll figure that out. Maybe I forgot to put it to public. I did schedule it to go live on Friday, but maybe I scheduled it to go hidden or something. I don't know. Anyway, so welcome to all of you. We have 26 people watching. Don't forget, folks, please do hit that like button. You may not realise, but if you hit the like button for your favourite artists on the YouTubes, it helps them massively because it helps their video get listed higher up in the search algorithms. And that means their videos get seen by more people and they get to earn a little bit more money and they get to keep making videos. So there you go. Right, so we're going to crack on. We've been building this Primaris Repulsor, and as you've seen there, there's these gaps, these god-awful, hideous... there was no way I could have avoided these. This isn't me not being able to build it properly. This is these pieces just not fitting at all. Even with clampy, they just didn't fit. So I've still not decided yet if I'm going to do battle damage or use some plastic plate card. So I'll say that again, plastic card to create some extra plating over the top because I can recreate the rivets. So I might do some plating on that one maybe and some plating here and then do some battle damage. I don't know, we'll see. But we're going to carry on making the repulsor plates, the grav plates. We made half of them last week. So So I need to make the ones that go on this side here, but I also need to glue this door on. So that's part number 12. We shall start with part number 12. We've not done these. We've not done these greebles on the front yet either. So I might get them done. I'll do the grav plates first because that's tedious fiddly work. Get that bit done first. I just got a notification, says Ian Thompson. Oh yeah, that's just YouTube being rubbish. Ted is back here now doing Ted Hamster this evening from 8:30. Yes, Ted's Baneblade. I've been waiting. I love watching Ted building a Baneblade. It's just the best thing ever. And I've been waiting for him to come back so he can carry on building it because I've missed Ted Blade. Right, so anyway, what parts do we need? We need some parts. That's given. Do I need that sprue? No. Do I need that sprue? Not yet. So I need... Oh, no, I do need that sprue. Oh. Flange. You know. Anyway, yes, I hope you're all well. I've had a busy week this week. I've been filming Tabletop Trauma Centre, the first episode. I've got it pretty much done now, apart from one little bit at the end. And I'm currently editing episode 1 as we speak, so I'm part number 12. I've got to flip my thing down so I can see. There we go. I can either see the model parts or I can see the chat, but I can't see both. So remember to use your capitals or your super chat if you wish to get my attention. How's the video, by the way? How's the audio and stuff? I hope the picture is good for you. I hope it's nice and bright now and not fuzzy and dark and crappy. I hope we've got a much better image quality going on now. I'm hoping, because, you know, I quite like the idea of having 2 cameras, but I didn't like the idea of having crappy image quality. Really didn't sit well with me. So we have little bits on here. This is the side door, so we're just going to scrape these nubs off. Now this is a recessed part, so I don't have to worry about sanding these edges. As long as it fits, that's all that matters. Yes, I've been busy all week doing Tabletop Trauma Centre. I'm in the process of editing episode 1. I'm working. You may notice it's got quite a few jump cuts as you go through it. Purely because when I finished all the bits, it was an hour. It was almost 2 hours. I've got almost 2 hours of footage and waffling. I'm not going to post a 2-hour episode of anything, but I also don't want to split it into 2 halves because of what I'm doing in this particular first episode is not worth 2 halves. It's just the prep work and the greebles and stuff. So yeah, I didn't really want to split it into 2 episodes. So I've been working hard. So there'll be a lot of jump cuts going on. Purely because you don't want to sit and watch 2 hours of stuff. I need to get it down to under an hour if possible. Okay, that's going to go on there. Now, if you remember, I was debating whether to paint the interior, but because of these horrendous gaps that I can't fix after the fact, I've got no choice. I have to have everything sealed and closed in now, so there's no point me worrying about the interior. It's a shame because I'd love to paint the interior, but I can't be working with that. I was hoping that I could have the top removable, so I could lift it off and, you know, George, because George is going to get all the Space Marine stuff, he could lift it off maybe and show off the inside, then put it back on again. But you can't have it not glued, unfortunately. It's not like a Rhino where you can just lift the top off, which is a crying shame if you ask me. Right, let's get some quick glue on the. No, let's get some normal glue. Don't need quick glue. Is Dad on, or will Chris ask Dad's question for the stream? Ask Mordracker. I've not seen Dad in chat, so yes, if somebody wants to ask Chris, if you'd like to add the Dad question, you can do. Just a little touch of glue down the edges. More than enough to glue that in. Yes, I hope the image quality is okay for you and audio and stuff. I've said before, it's a lot of people don't bother with when they do live streams. They just stick the camera on and talk. You know, a lot of streamers don't really fuss about it too much. But I never take it for granted. And a lot of streamers just seem to get really good picture quality without any effort, which it frustrates me endlessly because I put a lot of effort into getting a decent picture. So I'm very stickler. I'm a real stickler about the quality of my streams. And if they're not right, if they're a bit rubbishy quality, it really drives me nuts. It upsets me. So I'm not broadcast. It's not broadcast quality here. I know the saturation's a bit off and the exposure's a bit high and the gamma's not quite right and the brightness is wrong. But I try and get it as good as I can. Right. Drink coffee. That makes coffee taste horrible. I do it every time for comedy, and then I remember halfway through, oh crap, it makes it taste like garbage. Fox could use a heat gun to soften the plastics and force it into place, says Quanaman. Yeah, but what I'd end up with is a soft bleh on that corner. Heat gun on a model kit is the worst idea ever. A hairdryer, maybe, because it's a bit more gentle, but a heat gun, it's just not going to end well. Bench and belly time, says Nim. Yes, there we go. If Dad isn't in, I shall ask the question, she says. Yes, what's on your bench? What's in your belly? What are you building or making or drawing or sticking? Or what is your current crafty little thing you're doing? Could be anything. You could be drawing. You could be like Nim, drawing on computer. You could be doing all kinds of things. It doesn't have to be making a model. So what is your current crafty little activity? You could be just making cakes. You could be planting something in the garden, but not right now, obviously, because it's cold and raining. And also you're watching this. What's your crafty thing at the minute? What are you making? And belly, what are you having for your dinner, or what have you had for your dinner? I am making tonight Fox's mess with chicken bits, which is lots of chicken breasts sliced up into little pieces, and then I make some Fox's mess, which I've explained before. It's potatoes and carrots and cabbage and onions and spring onions chopped up, and lovely, lovely, lovely. Nim says, Bench, still the Master Grade Freedom 2.0. It's very nice, that. I've not made the 2.0, but I made the original. But the 2.0 looks really nice. But may or may not have started my Toon Hood, belly, sausage, and some form of potato. Oh yes. Toon Hood, I assume that's your Dungeons and Dragons character's costume, and I assume you mean making it to wear, like the words escape me. Cosplay. I couldn't think of the word then. Like cosplay rather than just drawing it. I don't know. You could be drawing it. Candygram from Mongo is in. Welcome, Candygram. I'm not going to post 2 hours of anything, says Dan Kramer. Looks at Fox's video archives. I call shenanigans on that one. Yeah, my live streams go longer than 2 hours, but that's because there's stuff to do. You're not going to sit there and watch a video for 2 hours. B3 is in. Afternoon, gang. Hi, B3. Sorry I'm late, says Wayne Hayward. Welcome, Wayne. Belly, chicken roast, bench, Imperial Assault, Legion, and Judge Dredd painting. Cool. Mordraka says, Bench, the Herald of Nurgle, Conquest 54, belly, chicken, snags, chips, and eggs. Chips and eggs! Chips and eggs! Put them in my face now! I want them in my mouth, in my face mouth. David Sanderson says, Bench, Plague Surgeon. It's a very nice model, that. Ghost Lyle says, Cake in the Belly and painting 30 orc boys. Woo! Ian Thompson, Bench, pirate ship jigsaw puzzle, belly, scrambled egg on toast. Lots of eggs going on here. Nim says, no, the Meng Toon Hood model. Oh, I thought you meant like Toon as in D&D character, and then you were talking about cosplay. You mean the Toon Hood as in the Meng Toon ship, the HMS Hood. I just said H. Oh, I just said H. I know I'm northern, but I refuse to say H. Oh. B3 says, belly with steak and kidney pudding. Chips and peas. Oh, steak and kidney pudding. Oh, I can't eat pies anymore, but I can eat puddings. Although I can't because I'm on a low-fat diet now, but I lost the ability to digest and deal with pie crust pastry. But puddings. Oh, steak and kidney pudding. Oh, I've not had chippy for like 8 months and it's killing me. Bench is the continuing Gribblification of my knockoff Chappy Moose. That was a very acceptable bacon sarnie, says Butcher that model. Oh, yes. Fox is hopeless. Even I knew what you meant, says Sarah Jane. I am hopeless. I do not deny it. I've got a degree in hopelessness and horse physics from the university. It's a joint honours degree. Right, so we've got them on. Oh, you got... we stick the little greebles on now, or shall I'll stick the little greebles, because if I don't do these little greebles now... there... then I'll just forget, and then I'll be sad, and then I'll put them in my Greebles bag, and then I'll be like, where have they come from? Oh. So 28, 30, and 31. Do we think these are going to be on the same sprue? What are the odds? There's 31 on that sprue. It's going to be 28 and 30. 28. Ooh, we're doing well. 30. What's 30? 30 is a little square thing. And 30 is... not on the same sprue. Oh, almost, Games Workshop. Almost had it. You were so close. So close, and then you blew your trousers. Oh, well, never mind. Right, so we need 31, 28, and 30. So 31. First of all. That one. So yes, I've not been up to much this week. Like I say, filming for Tabletop Trauma Centre and editing. I filmed the Mystery Package Times, which is a day's worth of work. And I've been doing my streams yesterday and Friday. So I've not really had a lot of time, but I have been working away. And like I said, the only thing I've got to do now on the Tabletop Trauma Centre is I'm just filmed filling some seam lines with sprue goo. I'm waiting for it to cure so I can sand it, and then I can do a thing on the spinny thing to say we're ready, and then I can start the next episode. Then I can finish the editing and everything. So right, so I need part 30, which is not there, which is a small square one that could be pretty much anywhere. Fantastic. 45, 48, 21, yes, thank you. Sometimes it really is a case of you have to just look at the part to try. There it is. Was that part 9? That says part 30. Not the right part then, is it? Idiot. Part 30. Not on that sprue. I don't think. Okay. Not on that sprue. Deepest of size. Deepest of size. 102, 65. Not on that sprue. It must be on this sprue then. I must have missed it. I can't find it. It's not on that sprue. Come on. Give me the part. 62, 63. I've done that one already. I hate this. I hate this with Games Workshop kits. It really drives me nuts. You just put them in order like normal people. 2019, 8, 7, 35, 32. Yeah, I've got to look through every single part. 34, 33. And then it stops. 110. Do they not know I'm doing live telly and everything? I can't be sitting here looking for things. No, it's not right. There's one part that looks about right. Might not be, but it's listed as part 90. So what the hell is... I don't understand. I can't find this part at all. It's just not anywhere I can find. I've not taken it off the sprue already. I really cannot find pot 30. Has anyone built this kit? Can you tell me where pot 30 is? Oh, there it is. I think. Is that it? Crikey, Riley. It's there. There. Partly poor observation skills and partly I'm just blaming Games Workshop anyway for their stupid... Even though it was actually on the same sprue as the other parts numbered, just... Yeah, shut up. Just shut up. It's just always Games Workshop's fault. Let's just leave it at that. Right, there we go. D-Rock Payne says, was that Arnold? Get to the nippers. Right. Clean up some parts. The camera, there's the camera. Yes, I've been really busy this week. It's been good. It's been jolly good. I like being able to get back into it. So I've got my extra light. I've just taken delivery of extra camera stand and bits so I can have the camera on the other side and cables. If you watched the thing yesterday, the mystery package thing. So hopefully I'll be able to start using them in the second episode of Tabletop Trauma Centre. And with the extra light, it may help me get decent images and stuff. But I always, not just with live streams, but with pre-recorded shows as well, I always try and take great care in getting the best image quality with the equipment I've got. You know, I've not got an expensive 700 quid camera. You know, I probably never will have. I'm working off an old iPhone 6, I think. Which, you know, it does 1080p. That's fine. I'm not going to be filming in 4K. There's no point filming models in 4K. So I'm quite happy to film in 1080p. It does that. It records. So I'm happy to work with what I've got. But I still try and get the best quality images I can. Now, I'm not perfect. If you watch my stuff, it's often... Sometimes it's too dark or too bright or the white balance is off. That's because I'm not like my dad. My dad was a television lighting cameraman. I've got none of his skills at all. Neither the cameraman or the lighting part. I tried figuring out how to use a camera once, you know, learning all like f-stops and all that kind of stuff, and all that. Yeah, no, I was like, this is maths. I don't like maths. I'm not doing maths. I just press a button and record. But I'm learning little bits. But I always try and do the best quality image I can, so I take great pride in it. And it does frustrate me when I watch people do content where they don't make the effort. It's like, really? You just don't care about your viewers enough to bother making decent quality images? So I will always try and improve. I mean, I'd love, like, you know, I'd love a 700 quid spanky camera with lots of lighting rigs and stuff. I'd love that. But yeah, it might be a long time. I've got almost 25,000 subscribers. Yeah, that's not expensive camera time. And maybe I'll have another look when I've got like 100,000 subscribers. that might be buy expensive camera time. That might also be convert the garage into a studio for more space. Yes, that would be fantastic. So come on, 25,000 subscribers. We only need 75,000 more. Yeah, that's right. My maths checks out. Tell your friends. Tell all your friends. We am the night. Yeah, I need 75,000 more subscribers at least. Yeah. Just a tickly. Using Kenneth's sanding sticks, sponges and sanding mat that he sent me. Thank you very much, Kenneth. There's a hair on my finger there. I'm going to have to trim it because it's annoying me. It's catching the light and it's very annoying. So give me a sec. I know this is probably gross, but... Ow. That hurt. Like a hair on my finger there, and I'm like, oh. It tasked me, and it tasked me, and I'll have it. Right, so that's them little Gribbles. My partner just said there's a man on doing things to plastic. I said, yeah, he's trying to find part 30, said David Sanderson. Fox is hopeless. Even I knew what you meant. We've done that. We special, but we still love it. Oh, thank you very much, Nim. Belly roast chicken, bench K Tinga. I'll say that again. You missed punctuation, people. You missed an apostrophe. Belly roast chicken, bench Katinga. Just realised the grills on the front of the wing should have gone in before I glued the two halves together. Dope. Bingo, says David. Hairy fingernails. Yeah, I've got no. That's not a fingernail, is it? Challenge everyone. Convince 3 of your friends to subscribe to this channel, says Candygram. Yes, convince 3 of your friends to convince 50 of their friends to convince 25 of their friends. Yeah, we're almost at 25,000 subs, which is incredible. When I first started this, I never thought I'd have 500. Never mind 5,000 or 25,000. I got to like 20,000 within about a year, but then it kind of slowed down a bit. But I think it's picking up a little bit again, which is nice. One day I'll get to 100,000 subscribers, and then I might actually be earning enough then to just not worry about money. That'd be nice. Right, so part 30, which we'd spent all that time trying to flipping find, is not that part. Now, this is another one of those parts that seems to have no locating pins. It's just a case of just put it there roughly. And I've got to say, I'm not a big fan of this on this kit. I'm not a big fan of not having pins and holes and keys and locks, because it's not hard. It just makes me worry that something is not exactly in the right place. And I don't like that feeling. I don't like the feeling of not knowing if I've put something in correctly, because then later on I'll come back and it'll be like suddenly, oh, something else doesn't fit in now. I don't like it. I don't like it, Games Workshop. Don't do it again. He says, with 2 Forge World tank kits to build. Yeah, well, that's a bit different. That's resin. Much simpler. I'll tell you what, I still can't wait. I cannot wait to get my Macarius Vanquisher built. And my Malcadorian Furnace. Apparently, the rumour is that some of the Forge World stuff is going. Especially things like the Macarius, some of the Macarius tanks. Yeah, I assume that's correct. It's at a jaunty angle, but I assume it's correct. It doesn't actually really say, really. It's supposed to be like that. It's supposed to be straight, but it's not. I don't understand. It's more just shoddy direction and shoddy fit. And now I'm messing it up by juggling it around. Just doesn't want to fit very well. I'm not enjoying this kit at all. It's too much shenanigans and vagary going on. That's right, I'm right messy now, that is. It just doesn't want to fit at all. Just garbage. That is just garbage, Games Workshop. What the hell are you doing? This is just absolute garbage. Did you get like a guy from Revell on secondment or something when you design this kit? Because I've got to be honest with you, it just feels like it. See, now I've got to cut the roof off to make sure it fits. I'm not making this kit again. Well, I might try another one. If I ever do, it'll be the proper Games Workshop one, not this Conquest version. But I'm not enjoying this build. There's just too many like vaguely put this here kind of instructions. Which, I'm sorry, it's just absolutely nonsense. I know this isn't going to sit properly, but... Okay, that vaguely works. Bleh. Bleh. Having a Revell moment, weren't you, Games Workshop, when you made this? Bleh. Revell. Bleh. Okay, that fits. I don't like cutting things off the sprue in advance to make sure other things fit. It does not seem like a good thing. Sadly, most of my friends are muggles and just wouldn't appreciate your work, Fox. Yeah, my work is not the kind of thing you can really appreciate easily. You have to sort of like idiots that waffle a lot. Not really. Yeah. Right, 28, 31 and 31. So we need to put the Aquila. I love Aquilas. I love the Aquila. Man, even on camera? Yes. There we go. Little touch of the glue, and we are in. I keep covering up the instructions with the sprues. It's not a good way to go. These need to go that way. So we're going to plop these in first. I'm going to drop them first, actually. Plonk these in first. See, these have got pegs and slots. This is how you do models. Don't give me this vague nonsense. That's the wrong way around. Yeah. Go in that. They could almost be push fit parts. They kind of squeeze into place quite nicely. See, those parts I can appreciate. Right. Wouldn't be a Foxy stream on a Sunday if I didn't whinge about something and moan and complain. Old man shouts at clouds. Right, so that's them on. That's this roof bit cut off before I need to cut it off. Never mind, moving on. Next, we have to get the other grav plates done and stick the butt area parts on. So we'll do the grav plates first. It's a good 45 minutes of busy work. Get these bits here. I'm not going to be sticking the grav plates on till the end of the process, of course. Hypercannon activate. Hello all, says he on car. Now on the benches for the belly, later for tea, grilled pork chops and roasties. Ooh. Chronoman says I've got no friends, so I'll just blackmail all my enemies and their pets. Dave says Tommy says hi Fox. Hey Tommy, how you doing, buddy? Hope your dad is feeding you well today. Right, so we need hundreds of grav plate parts. The Spice Marine bikes. Spice Marine? Spice Marine? Spice! You got to go to Spice. Spice Marine. I don't know where that went. Space Marine bikes are a doddle compared to that kit. Yeah. I don't like the way some of these things are just supposed to vaguely go together. I'm not saying everything should be spoon-fed to you. But, you know, I don't want it to necessarily be an easy build. I'm not allergic to a not easy build, but I'm allergic to just, here's two pieces, just figure out how they go together, because we can't be bothered making a peg or a socket. That's not good. Right, 64 and 65 we need. 64. Two of these, 64. And 65. Yes, I missed Colin's stream today. I enjoy watching the Sunday brunch stream. It's quite nice because what I'll do is my usual routine on a Sunday is to not remember which tabs I've just cut. Is to do lots of stuff in the morning. You know, put up links to the stream and stuff. Then spend a couple of hours listening to the Sunday brunch stream and playing on the Xbox while I do, and then I get my stream ready. 5, 61, 63. It's normally it's one of those. It's like a chance for me to actually get some Fallout or some Skyrim in for myself, which is rare nowadays. I didn't get a chance today. Too busy. I was doing the edits and the stuff and doing voiceover work and things. Yes. There we go. Cleanup time. UVB76 in says Timur Vasily Anna Timur. Yes, thank you very much. Charlie Uniform November Tango. B3, and all the time I've been in chat and watching these streams, I've come to consider you not all as friends, but as people I've never met. I like that. What's yours is mine. So, SM Scout bikes will really do your heads in. Space Marine Scout bikes. These are new ones. Yeah. See, I'm not actually a big fan of any kind of bike because I'm a car driver. I want warmth, protection from the rain, and a stereo. I've never understood the lure of motorbikes. Like, why would I not want to be in a warm, weatherproof box where I can listen to tunes and sing? And on a hot summer's day, I don't need to wear like 1.5 tons of thick leather. Why would I want to do that? So I've never had an understanding of motorbike. Me and motorbikes were like that. Yes. So I don't have that knowledge of them. So I think when I try and build like space, apart from the fact that Space Marine bikes are garbage, they're worse than this. Yes. Do. That sounds like a good Sunday to me, Fox, says Common Road. Fantasy cake is fattening, so won't eat it all at once, says Sarah Jane. Well, hang on, if it's a fantasy cake and not a real cake, can't you just fantasise that it's not fattening? Or have I just misunderstood the intent of your sentence there? Oh, you mean I see what Common Road's saying about. Sounds like a good Sunday. Yeah. There's usually a couple of hours of Fallout or something I can play that's not noisy. I'm not playing noisy games while I'm listening to Colin and Dave doing their stream. And, you know, interacting with the chat while I'm playing and watching. Good Sunday morning, early afternoon. Bit of watching. The only thing is, of course, people put pictures up of their lunch and food. Like Frankie puts food up in Colin's gallery on his group. And then, of course, I'm looking at that at lunchtime. It's like, oh, I'm starving now. Oh. So I always come away from watching Colin stream ravenously hungry, which can be quite frustrating. Let's use my special scraping tool. What else has been going on? Not a lot going on here during the week. As I said, I've been busy working this week. Grafting away, grafting. Hoping to bring you quality content. Oh, well, I'll rephrase that. Hoping to bring you content. Let's just leave it at that, shall we? Too big. I need something smaller. Yeah, that's that one done. I'm not putting in a great deal of effort on these grav plates to make them nice and, you know, factory fresh, smooth and clean with the sanding, because I'm gonna be sort of putting some wear and tear on them anyway. I know they're not like tank tracks. They're not actually in contact with the ground, but I like to think, you know, they kind of come into contact because they're around the side of the vehicle. I like to think they kind of come into contact with, you know, trees and bushes and objects that the vehicle scrapes past as it floats along the ground. And, you know, when people run up to it with weapons, perhaps they're clunking into them. It's like almost like the first point of contact for anything touching the vehicle. So I'm going to give them some wear and tear, make them look a bit used. So if they've got a few chips and dings, that's great. These flippy things are great, but I have to flip them up literally to look at the... I wonder if I use my other glasses, and let me try. Because I'm having to flip these up to read the chat, which is a bit of a ball ache. Let me try them on my other glasses. That means I can't see the model as clearly, but it might be enough. I'll also sit on those glasses as well. So if I'm doing that there, and we're sanding. Oh, that's better. If I wear them on my normal glasses, I can see the model and I can see the chat a bit better. There we go. I don't have to fault about now. Happy times. UVB76 says Boris Evgeny Lada Evgeny Nikolai Dmitry. Yes. Unfortunately, you can sit there and look at Russian names on the internet. I can't do that from memory. Sadly. So I can't do a quick witty riposte in return, but I know what you're doing. Paul. Comero Junction. Are usually playing a lot of War Thunder. I don't know what that is. Sounds good. Any mods in? Looks like we have not... hang on. B3 says, any mods in? It looks like we have not right about. What's a not right? If you mean UVB76, that's Paul. We know who UVB76 is. He's allowed. Not my fantasy cake. Low-fat cake is an abomination. Dave says, that's what I'm doing right now, playing World of Warcraft with you on the other screen. Cool. Zerg Rush, wrong game. I know, I'll shut up. Leroy! I think I did try World of Warcraft once for about half an hour. And I'm like, yeah, this is garbage. I don't know why. Because it's like, you know, if I remember rightly, it was you just download it and try it. You didn't have to pay anything at first. I'm like, I'll give it a go. Everybody goes on about it. Oh, it's garbage. It was far too complicated. I'm like, oh, it's all just nonsense. So I put it away again. And by put it away, I mean deleted the crap out of it. Quanoman says, I have electronically heated armoured suit and my helmet has a fully integrated 7.1 virtual surround sound with a heads-up display and the visor fox because biking has evolved since the 1920s. Yeah, but you know what? On a hot summer day when it's like 31 degrees, you've still got to wear heavy leathers. Where I can be in my car in shorts and a t-shirt, I can have the window open, I can have my head stuck out the window like a puppy dog, and I'm nice and cool. And I've got my tunes going at full volume, and I can sing like a loon. And I'm sat on my butt, nice and comfy, and I'm not going to fall over at any point. I'm not one for vehicles where you can technically fall over. It's just not. Yeah. I don't want to be on a vehicle where I need to do balancing as well. It's just not. No. I do worry about you, says Butcher that model. What, because I didn't like World of Warcraft? Nonsense. Right, let's assemble these grav platings. Very, very simple. Let's see if I can mess it up. This very, very simple grav plate. It goes like that, and that goes on there, like that. You see? Excellent. On camera still? Yes. I don't know where the centre point is. The downside of this is I don't know where my centre point is. My centre point's there, you see. Goes on there like that. You see? Ooh, nub. Hang on. Heresy. On that. I might use the fast setting for this, just to get it done and done. Now, I've learned something about the... Oh, I can't get it off. Oh, I've learned something about the Tamiya fast setting cement this week. I shall tell you in a second. Okay, hang on. I'll tell you now because I need to solve it. Let me get something to lean on. If you have the fast setting cement and you find this little ring falls out, do not throw it away like I did the other week. You must put it back. Because without this ring, you will get constant vapours coming out of the jar. And if you shake it without that ring, the glue will come out. Now on the normal cements, it's not a problem. But on this specific fast setting cement, because it's a bit thinner than normal, the cement will come out of the jar even when the lid is tightly sealed. And you'll smell the fumes. And because I was sat here working, and if you remember, I think on the live stream last week, the little ring came out, so I threw it in the trash. I thought, I'll just throw that away. And that was a terrible mistake, because I'm working away and I can smell the glue, and I'm like, why can I smell it? Because it's closed. I've sealed the jar. No. Without that little bit of white foam, it doesn't make a perfect seal. The liquid's thin enough to get out, and the vapours can get out. And you'll drive yourself to illness with the vapours gassing you. So if it does come out, put it back in. If you do throw it away, I had to go and steal one from from one of these. I had to nick one from one of these to put in that, because these don't give off a vapour like without the foam bit. These do. So don't ever lose that bit of foam in there. Trust me on that. Trust me on that. You clearly have a weak grip and can't seal the bottle. No, I think basically this cement is actually also dissolving the ring into the plastic or something, because the foam ring is from one of these and not from this. It must be a different foam. So I think it's probably doing something nasty to the foam ring. I don't know. It was stuck. It wasn't me being feeble. It was just stuck. So yes, don't throw that ring away. If you lose it, if it falls out of the lid, because they do come out of the lids, it is a pain. Occasionally you'll take the lid off and the little ring will fall out. On the other two it doesn't really matter, but on this stuff you really must keep it. Do not throw it away. David Sanderson, Fox, what's the best dry brush games work colour to apply over typhus corrosion for my plague marine? Pink, says Team Inept, and David Sanderson says go away. Typhus corrosion, you mean to give like a little very delicate highlight? I would say if you want it depends. If you want a real bright rusty colour, I'm just going through my drawers now. If you want a bright, vibrant, rusty colour, then you want an orange of some sort. If it's going to be a really, really subtle rust colour, you can either go for Jaquero orange, which is quite a muted colour, or if you want really bright, go for something like Troll Slayer orange, which is a really bright orange. But if you're going more for a brown rust and corrosion, then you want something like maybe... I don't know if I can get to these paints because they're all behind microphones and stuff. If you're going for more of a traditional brown rusty, I can't get the paints out, but you want more of a red-brown colour. Just something that's a reddy brown tone. If it's going to be a real subtle kind of highlight. But I mean, to be perfectly honest, I would probably do typhus corrosion as the last step and not dry brush over it, because typhus corrosion in itself looks really good. So if you want to, I'd maybe go for, it depends if you want real strong rust. Fresh rust will be orange, old rust will be more of a brown tone. So it depends how you want to take it. Put the lid on your Jaquero orange properly. I forgot which one it was now. Where is it? That one. That's it. It won't go. It's blonged up at the back. It's probably long knackered anyway. This is the downside of these pots, you see. That's about a year old anyway. Yeah. Yes. Mine evaporated over 2 days. A brand new pot and used it once, and I'm sure I put the lid back on properly, says Dave. Yeah. Because I know the only reason I noticed was I hadn't noticed anything until yesterday I was filming. Earlier this week I was filming, and I knocked the pot over with the lid was on, and I picked it up again, and the desk was dry, but I could feel moist. I'm like, why does it feel wet? And I realised the glue was still coming out of the pot, even though the lid was on, because that foam thing had vanished. So just be careful with that stuff. It's dangerous. And you don't want to be breathing the vapours in. I mean, you can just about, if you work with Tamiya Extra Thin for a few hours, then you might get a little bit of a dull sort of sinus, nasal kind of back of the eyes ache just from the fumes. If you use this stuff for like half an hour, you're just going to be like potentially raging headache time. So Just got to be careful with it. It seems like you and Reese RJC models will get along just well, Fox. Yeah, I know Reese. Reese is a good lad. Known Reese for years. Also has heat vents, and I could fit stabilizers for you, Fox, says Quano Man. Yeah, it still doesn't change the fact that you're still wearing thick leather stuff when you get off the bike to go into a shop in the middle of a heat wave. Yes. I'm not going to fall over at any point, says Team Inept, and then says, absolute bollocks, yes, you will. Yes. Dude, and then when you get to somewhere, you have to take all your outfit off. No. When I used to work in offices, it'd be like, you'd be there, and there'd be some guys that would come in on their motorbikes, and they'd come in on a bike, and they'd look kind of cool in their outfit, and then they'd come into the office, and then they'd spend 10 minutes getting dressed for work, and it's like when they're going home, they'd have to go and spend 10 or 15 minutes getting in. It's like, I just get in the car and drive home. Yes, it was. You are Phoebes, says Paul at Team Inept. I've left the lid loose on my thin accidentally for a day. It was fine. Yeah, but do you mean extra thin or the extra thin fast setting? Because this stuff stinks. You'll know the lid's not on properly because you'll just be like, whoo, hello, I can see molecules. Try going A-to-T using nylock oxide. I don't know what nylock oxide is. Scrape all the crud out then. Yeah, it takes effort. Hey, what he do with the hull, says Kildar. Hey Kildar, I'm working on the grav plates at the minute. This is where we're up to so far. With the horrendous panel gaps. Not impressed with them. Yes. Thanks, Fox. I'm using Juquero Orange. It looks good. Good. Juquero, if you don't know your Fallout, it's not Fallout, is it? If you don't know your Warhammer lore, Juquero are a species of sentient creature that look like, I think they look a bit like orangutan, I think. But they're effectively tech savants. They make things and tech and stuff. There was one of them in the animated trailer for one of the kids' books at one point. And they're orange, that's why it's called Juquero Orange. I only know that because I probably read a thing at some point. I need my pen to mark off the ones I've done. I've done them. And done. Grav plating across the universe. These are all the same now. 63 and 64 times 1. 63. 64. Juquero are basically Dave Barker, but with mechanical skills. Love you, Dave, says Paul. Could you just say Juquero are basically Dave Barker, but with skills? Would that still be a valid sentence? I'm cruel. I'd take it back. I'm not. It's funny. 64 and 63. 64 is there. We love Dave. It's hard not to love someone who is just so happy to be the butt of everybody's jokes. He's only little. You can't take the mickey out of somebody's little. You can. And I just did. And there you go. Right, so 64 and 63. 63! Yeah, so Fox's mess for tea tonight with chickens. Chickens on the defrost. I says to Mama Fox when I came up, I said, right, I'm going to go and do my stream now. Can you remember to make sure to rotate my breasts in about an hour and a half? The defrosting, and I need turning over. The other day, we had tagliatelle with like beef, with the proper beef meatballs. And I put the meatballs out to defrost. And I says to Mama Fox, right, I'm going to go and do my stream now. Can you rotate me balls after about an hour and a half, please? Yeah. We have a laugh sometimes. Me and Mama Fox. Juquero are the librarian 40k. Ook, says Kildar. Yeah, that's what they remind me of. They remind me of the librarian from the Terry Pratchett novels, from the Discworld novels. I think in the 80s, a lot of Games Workshop's ideas were a bit simple and derivative. David Butch that model says he's about right. That's the thing. We take the mickey out of Dave, but Dave's like, yeah, it's fair enough. That's why we love him. He's such a willing target. Yeah, that's the trick with the rust there, Dave. Whatever you're using for rust. I need to clear my throat. One sec. Whatever you're using for rust, and keep in mind that Oh yeah, Bright Rust with Citadel is Riser Rust, says Team Inept. I completely forgot about Riser Rust. Yes, Riser Rust is also a bright kind of rust colour. I think it's a dry paint. I forgot all about Riser Rust. Typhus Corrosion. Yeah, Typhus Corrosion's like, you can use it one or two ways, because rust can be all different colours. People often think that rust is just orange or red, brown or something. The thing about rust is rust can be all kinds of different colours depending on what it is actually rusting. Old rust is often darker, and new rust can be really bright orange and sometimes even yellow. You know, if you go and look at something that's got rusty streaks all over it, and keep in mind, of course, unless it's in a place where there's no rain, rust will often be streaky because the corrosion, the iron oxide corrodes and rusts and leaches down a surface with rainfall. So there's always like streaks and stuff, unless you're in a desert environment, in which case there shouldn't be rust anyway. But yeah, it can vary in colour, and some young rust can be like, you can have yellows, you can have browns and oranges and reds. It can be all kinds of varied. And the trick about doing rust is to not just use one colour. I mean, you can, it looks fine, but you really want a little bit of variation, so to suggest different ages of rust. Because, you know, if you've got a vehicle, it doesn't suddenly go and factory fresh and corroded. It doesn't. It's not like it instantly becomes rusty. It takes time and months and years to corrode as it's exposed to the elements. And something that rusts straight away might be next to something that takes longer to rust because it's a different alloy. So it's good to have different colours. And just stick to the basic principle: the lighter the younger, the darker the older. And that's why oil paints are great for doing rust effects, either as, you know, brushing it on as dry brushes or as washes, because they can just, you know, change and fade and blend and vary so much. Did I get them on the right way around? I did, didn't I? Yes. I think so. Yes. I had a sudden flash, but then I was maybe put these on the wrong way around. I don't think I did. Yeah, that's why oils are great for dry brushing and for making washes, because they can just vary so much. They give you that random colour texture. And what you often tend to find is, of course, again, if you've got like streaking or something like that, that younger rust will tend to be closer towards the actual area of rust, whereas the older rust will tend to be, if you've had streaking or leaching, where the rust has leached down from gravity, the older rust will tend to be away from the area that's rusted. You get like a natural direction of flow, as it were. And that's often why, if you want to pay, the way we do rust patches on vehicles is you paint it rust and then you do your paint at the top. If you're getting really kind of realistic, you'd have the fresher rust, the darker rust will be on the outside of the rust chip, and the fresher rust will be on the inside. But that's getting a bit too involved for model making rust patches, I think. Second rule of Boom Hut Fight Club: we never dish it out if we can't take it, says Butcher that model. Absolutely. Yeah. First rule of Boom Hut Fight Club is dish it out if you're joking. Second rule is don't dish it out if you can't take it. Third rule is if you're not joking, we kick you out. First rule is pick on Simon, yeah. Common Road Junction says, I'm getting a decal tray because of you, Fox. Cool. I've not used mine yet. I've not had a chance to do decals. But I've been after one for ages. Right, we need 61 and 64 times 4. Yeah, I've been after one for the longest time. I keep being like, oh, I need to get a decal tray. Oh, I forgot. And I kept forgetting. Finally, I just got my finger out. Leaching, cool, leaching. That's the word of the day right there. Yes, leaching. When your corrosion and dirt leaches down the side. The Millennium Falcon is a perfect example of leaching, because all those streaks is leaching. It's gunk and rust and crap that is washed by the rain and leaches down the side of the ship. That's the trick to making some of your weathering look convincing. Is the filter tints it, but the streaks are supposed to be things leaching out from corners and crevices. 64 and 61. So 64, 64, 64. There we go, yeah, it's just them. And it's always making sure your leaching occurs in the direction of gravitational gravity. You know, fluids don't leach up. Having said that, though, you've got, when you're making a model, and you're doing, well, I've said this before, but when you're doing a weathering on a model, there's a certain sort of part of it that says you can go realistic, but you can't go too realistic. Because when you're making a miniature of something, you're making a model of something, there's a risk that you can go too realistic and then it just looks wrong. For example, if you see people doing rust streaks or any kind of weathering streaks, they always kind of follow the same formula. You know, they go from top to bottom, they go from, you know, air to ground, follow gravity, and they're usually vertical, 90 degrees to the horizontal. Because that makes sense, and you're like, I understand what's happening there. Something's running down the side of the vehicle, tank or whatever. 61 I want, 61, 61. Come on. And that makes sense. However, there was one day when I was driving along the motorway. It has happened in the past. I have been known to drive along motorways, screaming in fear of my life all the way, because I hate driving, and I hate driving on the motorway. I'm pootling along the motorway in the slow lane at like 10 miles an hour, shitting bricks and gripping the steering wheel so much it's got fingerprints embedded into it. I hate the motorway. I think it's because I've always had second-hand cars, and therefore I always am just afraid that they'll explode as I'm going down the motorway. When you've never had a brand new car, very rarely ever had a brand new car. 99% of my cars have been second-hand. There's always something wrong with them. I just don't trust them not to explode. Anyway, pootling down the motorway at 10 miles an hour. And I was driving behind not an 18-wheeler, but like a panel truck, like, you know, a transit with a big box van on the back. A box van, I suppose you call it. 1, 2, 3. Missing one. Am I missing one? 1, 2, 3, 4. There we go. It's basically a panel van. What some people might call a Luton van. And there's a door on the back. And there's like, obviously they've got some of the trim around the door had rusted. I don't know why, because normally they're aluminium, but it had rusted, and there was rust streaks coming down the back of this truck. So you imagine you've got a door on the truck like that on the back. There's another door here, and you've got these wonderful streaks. And I was like driving along. I was going slow enough that I could study this vehicle whilst also driving safely. There's wonderful streaks going down from all the metal attachment points and hinges and stuff, apart from one rust streak that was like that. It was at like 45 degrees. And I'm like, the hell is that? And it's clearly, whatever it was like a brownie red. It wasn't like a same as it was like a weird rusty colour, so it might have been something else completely. But what I think had happened was everything that had gone vertically was just normal over time rust streaking, but at some point it had been parked up on a curb like that. So parked up at a jaunty angle on a curb perhaps, and something, at only that time, something had leached from a point on the door down the truck. But of course it had leached vertically from, you know, up to down. It had gone 90 degrees to the horizontal, but of course the truck was at 45 degrees parked up on an angle, and then it only leached that once, because when it was straightened again and drove off, it didn't do it. There was no corresponding vertical streak, so there was a streak just like that on this door on this truck. And I'm like, if I did that on a model, it would make no sense at all, and everybody'd be like, what have you done there? You've ruined it. What's that all about? And it's funny. It's true. It would be absolutely... If I showed them then a picture of the thing it was based on, they'd be like, oh, I get it. But it would be realistic, but it would be incorrect to our eyes, because it's not what you expect in a model. So that's what I mean when I say sometimes you can be too realistic. You can do whatever you want on a model, and you can make up a story to explain it. You know, I could say it's been parked at 45 degrees and this one particular thing streaked right at that moment for a few days. And it would make sense, but then you've got to explain it to everybody, and it's a pain in the backside. So there's a certain trade-off to your model tells a story, and your story can explain what people are seeing, but there's only so far you can push it. And if you go too far, then it's like a suspension of disbelief. They're like, what? That doesn't make any sense. So it's weird. And it just made me realise, no matter how realistic it is, because it's on a real vehicle, I'm looking at it now, I'm driving down the M62, it wouldn't work on a model. It just would not work, because nobody would accept it. Because it's too far beyond what you're expecting to see. When you see a model, you're looking at a miniature version of something. Your brain has a certain image of what that thing looks like. So, you make a model of a truck or a U-boat or a car or something. Your brain knows what that truck or U-boat or car or tree or whatever it is looks like. And it's comparing it to all the examples of that in its memory. To say, that's a truck, that's a car, that's a motorbike. But, and your brain says, that's a rust streak, and rust streaks go from top to bottom. But then it says, but there's one at 45 degrees. What? And all you look at is you see that and you think, that guy's a rubbish painter. That guy doesn't understand how gravity works. He's clearly an idiot. And it looks like a painting mistake, when it's actually not. So there you go. Like on the Millennium Falcon, I'll say that again, the Millennium Falcon, when I was explaining how to do the streaks, of course. All the streaks, I'm saying that they need to radiate out from the centre at 90 degrees to the radius diameter. I don't know the circle words. They need to, radiate out from the centre. That's how they look right. But in reality, if it was a real vehicle, there would be streaks that kind of went the wrong way or went sideways a little bit, or there wouldn't be ones that went up, obviously, but they'd all go from the centre out on the upper hull. But there would realistically potentially be ones that were kind of at funny angles, for various reasons. It could be anything. It could have formed in a strong wind and it would be blown sideways a bit. But again, if you did that, people would say, you can't even paint straight lines, you're rubbish, you are. That's not how streaks work. So it's a weird juxtaposition of, you want your model to be as realistic as possible, but you can't become too realistic because then it looks weird and nobody will accept it. Strange. And that's the fine line when you're doing weathering, between how realistic do you want to make it. It's like chipping. The chipping we do on our models is kind of an accepted shorthand for chipping. It's a slightly stylized way of doing it. Rust colour, light colour paint, main darker colour paint. It's like, we kind of abbreviate it in a lot of ways. If you were to paint chips like they actually really appear, it wouldn't be that they wouldn't look realistic, but they look too complex for such a small model. It's the similar kind of thing when you're doing a model. You have to kind of abbreviate some things, because to shrink them down with all the detail intact would just look too cluttered. It's like, if you know Photoshop, the best way to explain it, if you know Photoshop, imagine you've got a 50-point font and you've got a 4-pixel strike outline around it. It's white text with a black outline, blend layer. Let's say 10 pixels, 10 pixel outline strike, and then you shrink that down to 5-point font. Suddenly the outline stays the same shape. It's a mess because you've not shrunk the outline down to match it. And it's the same with like model making. If you just replicate exactly what you see to the molecule, some things are going to look too complicated and fussy and chunky and horrible. So there's always a little bit of shorthand that goes on. You suggest it. It's a kind of impressionism. When you're painting a model and weathering it, it's not always practical to reproduce it exactly. Sometimes you're just you're making the suggestion of a rust chip or a streak or a bit of dirt. It's almost like an impressionist piece of art. The Impressionists learn that if you want to paint a tree, you don't have to paint every single leaf, and you don't have to paint every single vein on the leaves and little crease in the trunk and everything else. You just need to paint it so that people can recognise it's supposed to represent a tree. Best way to think about how complex you want to get when you're painting. This is my way of painting anyway. I mean, obviously there are people that paint much better than me and much more realistically. I kind of do I'm not a realistic painter. I'm kind of a concept artist of model painting. What I mean by that is, look at some of the, say, Warhammer 40k poster artwork. We've got like a poster of a space marine. It's beautifully painted, loads of detail, and you don't know if it's like CGI or someone's actually physically painted it or whatever it is. And they always look fantastic. That's super realistic detail type stuff. I don't paint that. I paint more like the person who does some concept art. Like, look at video game concept art. It's blocky and basic. There's not all the detail there. Like there's a concept art of, say, a spaceship or a dude in a costume. It's not super detailed. It's more hints of colours, rough shapes. It's roughed out. That's kind of my style of painting. I'm kind of concept art, roughed out impressionist. Yes, I could paint every single streak and chip and imperfection on a paint surface, and it'd be an incredibly super realistic model. But you know, I'm not Spanish. For some reason, it's a lot of Spanish model makers do realistic stuff like that, which is fantastic. It's not the way I do it. I know it's incredible to look at and it is an awesome work of art, but I find more fun staying at the concept art level. Blocky stuff, blocky things that suggest paint chips. It suggests this and that. I don't know why, it's just the way I do it. I'm not so much figurative as just impressionistic, perhaps. Where are we? Let's have a look. Could it have been a scratch that's gone rusty? No, because it really was. There was like little side streaks along it that were kind of flowing with it as well. So, because even if it was a scratch that had gone rusty, going back to the door, I know what you're saying. That little 45-degree thing. You've got your door, and even if there's a scratch like that, the rust that will come off it will still leach down. I know I'm doing it at a funny angle for you guys. Even if this is a scratch that goes across like this, I can't get that to grip. There's your scratch. The rust will still leach down that way if it was vertical and horizontal all the time. But this was literally the streaks were that way. It wasn't just one, it was like a small collection of streaks all kind of with each other going that way. So it must have been parked like that. And when that thing streaked, whatever it was, even if it might have been a scratch, but when that particular thing streaked and rusted, the gravity pulled the liquid, the water and the rainwater down that way, which when the vehicle was straight, was not 45. It's weird, but I just at that point realised there's some things you can't replicate because it just people's brains wouldn't accept it. Really weird. Fox reads my comment on your video about the tray. Just some advice. Yeah, about not using the decal brush. Yeah, I probably won't because it seems a bit silly anyway. I'm more than happy just to pick my decal up with the tweezers, like you said. I didn't really get it for the brush, I just got it for the idea of not having to fish the decal out of water all the time. I want it so I can basically not have to have a pool of water on my desk, which I invariably drop decals into, or move the decal sheets into. It seems a bit more efficient, basically. Decal tray, posh git, what's wrong with the chip saucer you've used since childhood? I don't know, I like chips though. I'm finding it's really hard to find 1/35th scale figures that aren't obvious military. Yeah, or if they aren't, then they're usually World War II French civilians. I don't quite know why it's always French civilians. Or farm civilians. There are ones out there, but yes. A lot of times you're looking at things like resin manufacturers like, I know they're not around anymore, but Verlinden and places like that used to do lots of resin figures. And if it's Japanese, they're always students in short skirts. As they go with sports cars. Right, let's get these glued together. Swig of coffee first. No. Quick look at chat. I have to go now. Thanks, guys. See you. Take care, David. Thank you for coming in. Now it makes sense. M62. So at some point somebody had a wheel off it, hence the 45-degree list. Yeah, it could be. You see, maybe Dad was around and nicked an alloy off it or something. Yeah. M62, probably a Scouse van delivering to Liverpool. They did nick me wheel, like, again. I've just got the other one on. Always nick it from the same side, don't they? I know they do. Always in the same bleeding side. Git. Right, so that was a terrible Liverpool accent. That needs to go on there like that. Do you see? Kaplink. Kapla. Thing about the Falcon that gets me is the exhaust marks in the back. They should not be splayed out at angles. They should all be straight back as the marks are being made while it's in motion. Yeah, yeah. I think I said that in the video. There's often this argument of how does that even work? But then I suppose it's like, are there shields maybe squashing them flat? Could that be it? I don't know. You also have to ask the question how the Falcon manoeuvres any way other than straightforward when there's no visible RCS thruster system. How does it do banks and rolls and turns? Rather, it's got a big fat engine at the back, which is great if you want to go forward. How does it go sideways? Or, you know, how does it roll, pitch and yaw? Now, technically, if you look at the model, there is a small thruster quad on the cockpit tube, but there's nothing to say that is actually a thruster quad. It could just be, it's actually a thruster quad from an Apollo LEM on the filming miniature. There's a nub there. You spoon, Fox. You absolute spoon. La 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 la. No, Dan, there is no atmosphere in space, so the stain should be a circle around the point it's coming from. Yeah, but don't forget the Falcon flies in atmosphere a lot as well. It's not just a space vehicle. It's an atmospheric craft as well. Because if it was only a space vehicle, you wouldn't have any stains or streaks and rust on it. Who knows? Maybe it's because the engine's... Maybe it's only when the engine's running and it's parked. You know, the engine has to idle at a spaceport every now and then. Who knows? I think it's probably a bit over analysing it. But again, that's the thing, you see. If you painted it realistically, if you painted it saying, here's what the exhaust materials would do in, you know, if there were shields and things like that, if you painted it realistically, would it look right or would it look wrong? See, it's the same thing again. Maybe they thought about that and realised it looked weird if you painted it the way it would actually happen. You never know. You never know. Right, good on the right around? Yes. I'll be back on the comments in a moment, chaps and chapesses. Give me 1 secondi. It's gluing. Got to work fastly. I don't want the lid off this glue for too long. Otherwise I'll be going doolale. Doolale. Lale lulilo. Lale luli. Metal Gear. My brother has rebuilt my brother has rebuilt a 1210 David Brown. I don't know what that is. A real one, not a model. There are a bunch of bits that have been left upside down for like 50 years in a barn. The rust streaks warp my fragile little brain. Yeah, that's the thing. But if you painted it like that, people would be like, you're an idiot. You can't paint for toffee. You don't understand how anything works. But you'd be like, no, it's this is what it actually looks like. Just don't tase me, bro. But you know, the way it is. And that's the way. I'm not going to sing that. That will be a copyright strike. Also, it's a crap song anyway. There we go. That one's on. I think this concludes our gravitic plating for today. I think. Put them there to dry for a moment. Quick look at the chatulations. Flip up. Whoop. Oh, I can't read now. Wow, I've got to keep these down to be able to read it. Well, these are working on my normal glasses. They're not quite as zoomy in. I have ordered some more of these. I have added these to my 3 Amazon stores, Canada, US and UK. UK are sold out. If you go to the US store, you can get 3 different magnifications. I got these from the UK store and it says they're 2.25 magnification. What it means is 2.25 diopters, not 2.25 times magnification. So I've ordered some more, because if you look at the US one, they've got up to 1.75 magnification. They've got 1, 1.5 and 1.75, which I think is 2.25 diopters. Or anyway, there's more magnification ones than these. So I have ordered some more. But it's quite handy. I don't have to wear my big space helmet. Where are we now? Let's have a look. Chat's moved quite a lot. Model making mayhem is in. Crash bang boom. Hello. Unlikely there will be any exhaust in space, Dan. It's more likely the marks are made by condensation when she's landed in atmosphere and then gravity and a curved hull take over. Could be. Again, this is the thing, you see. Again, could it be that those things around the engine exhaust vents aren't actually emissions from the exhaust? Maybe the stuff from the exhaust does just collect around the exhaust vent, but then rain leaches it down through gravity because they do follow. But then again, no, because they go out sideways like that. This is the problem. You've got the back of the ship here, but they don't just go straight. They go out at an angle. That's the Vex, you see. So I can't show you because it's downstairs. Dan Kramer, I have this exact problem. I need a generic bloke in jeans, etc., but I can't find one. Yeah, you have to search around. Verlinden did a lot of figures in 1/35 like that. And there's a lot of Japanese Tamiya figures that you can put with your Toyota Celica model kit type things. But they're always like Japanese students, so... Yes. I never mentioned the brush. Oh, have I misremembered your comment? I mentioned the tray isn't deep enough and the grill holes are a bit small, so watch when putting the tray into the water. Okay, cool. I was totally misremembering your comment there. Helgen35's in. There's a Tony in the room. Holy moly, Tony. Welcome, Tony. I don't think you've been in one of my live stream chats before. Everybody please give the biggest of welcomes and the warmest of welcomes to Helgen35. He's not often gets a chance to watch anything or be in chat, so he's clearly buried the stepsons under the patio again and got himself a quiet time in the spare room. So welcome, Tony. That's our good mate Tony, fellow remodels builder. Please give him the warmest of welcomes, big hugs. Welcome, Tony. Any complaints, of course, make sure to send them to Tony at helgen35@geocities.com. Anyway, where are we up to? I'm going to skip through the comments a little bit. Look, it's Tony Pants, says Paul. How are you? How about yourself? Super happy to see you do the data dump on the tank. Dan Kramer says Tony. Tony says, super busy with hospital work at the moment, Dan. I'm hoping to be back soon, though. Yay! 1210 is a David Brown is... Start again. A 1210 David Brown is a tractor fox. I did think that might be the case, but I didn't know for sure. Named after the man who designed it. Kind of makes sense. It's the same, interestingly, it's the same David Brown who made the Aston Martin that has his initials in the name DB. Well, I've got to be honest with you. You telling me that the man that designed the Aston Martin designed a tractor. I've been inside a DB. And yeah, but the modern ones. And the insides, garbage. The DB8 interior. Is it DB8, the latest one? Garbage. I sat inside that. We used to do vehicle detailing. I sat inside the DB8 and my Series 3 Land Rover had a nicer interior. Absolute garbage. People pay for this crap. Thanks for posting your Chieftain Mark 10 builds videos, Helgen35. Oh my god, it's Tony, says Ostrich. Waves and blushes, says Helgen. Tony Helgen35, of course, is available for all your weddings, bar mitzvahs and parties, but he does not do the balloon dog animal thing. At least not last time I checked, anyway. Right, we've done the gravitic platilations. Oh, yes. I'll put them over there. I'll put them... I'll just bang them on my desk over there. There you go. They're out of the way now. 1, 2, 3, out of the room. Now we need to add the back door and the engine vector. Oh, God, words! Oh, I can't speak with the talking today. My talking gland is not working properly. He does do it, he just doesn't use a balloon. Ew. Right, so we've got the 4 engine nozzles. Because that's what you need on a tank, is rocket engines, of course. Get these little puppies off. How are you doing, Tony? It's been a long time, my friend. I think you've been in chats on my streams before, but not very often. I'm all excited and giddy now, so... You made me ping my nozzle off and everything. Doodle-doo-doo-doo-doo. I haven't heard Mama Fox get up and rotate my breasts yet. Speaking breasts. Behave. I get the feeling I'm going to go downstairs and find them not rotated and therefore not fully defrosted. And I'll be like, oh, you had one job, Mama Fox. 13, which is the rear hatch. And we can assemble these. Now, you notice I've not glued those grav plates on the thing yet. A million people have told me not to glue the grav plates on, and it says in the instructions you don't need to glue them on. And I wasn't going to anyway, because it would seem better to not glue them on, to keep them easily paintable. Wait, what? I tune in for 1 minute, says Cy Reynolds, who's just turned up, and you're subjecting Mama Fox to your breasts. I'm defrosting my chicken breasts for the dinner. And I says to her, I'm streaming now, but in an hour and a half, you need to go and rotate my breasts. Turn them over so they defrost thoroughly properly. But welcome, Si Reynolds as well. He's in chat, not been around for a while. Welcome, Si. You said you'd come in. Our Lord and Saviour Kevin is in the house. All hail Kevin. If I go quiet, it's because I'm concentrating and trying not to gouge the side of my thumb while I'm doing this. I know you like Stabberty. I know you really subscribe and watch for the Stabberty. But there comes a point when I really rather not do Stabberty. Because, you know, I don't even know how I did that. I was filming. I must watch, when I watch back through Tabletop Trauma Centre, the first episode, I will have to look because I'm pretty sure the first half of it I don't have that, and the second half I do have that, but I've got no idea how I did that. I've just not a clue. Oops, that's the wrong way. I don't think it's from my nippers last week. That was somewhere else. I just noticed it. I was filming. I'm like, wait a minute, where did this gaping wound on my finger come from? God damn it, Fox. On this one. I don't like the way they have the nubs on these bits. It's real pain to keep them looking neat and tidy. Muggle making Muggle? I just said Muggle. Muggle making mayhem says, good lord, Wild Helgen 35 Tony. Oh, sorry, Helgen 35. Get it right, you idiot. Helgen 35. Helgen 35 at geocities.com for all your complaint needs. Oh, the humanity. Oh, the human. I actually, bizarrely, I don't know why, but last weekend I was like, you know, watching something on YouTube, and I suddenly found myself going down a Google rabbit hole of reading up about the Hindenburg disaster. I don't know why. I'd obviously watched something that mentioned it. And I'm like, oh, I must read about that. Because obviously we all have what we know about the Hindenburg disaster. And it was like, I just found myself reading all the information I could find about it. I didn't know, for example, that when you see the newsreel from the, I think it's the NBC guy, doing the famous Oh, the Humanity commentary, that wasn't actually filmed, or it's never been presented at the same time as the film. What I mean is, it's never been synced up with the film perfectly because the film's heavily edited. So they just recorded him speaking and the guy was filming, but then they never kind of matched them up. And also, apparently, every time we hear that commentator talking, it's actually speeded up. Because the guy was apparently known for having quite a deep voice, but when we hear it, he's all like, "Oh my God, they're all running! It's all burning! Oh, the humanity!" It's not that high pitch. So we've always heard it speeded up and never in sync with the film, which is weird. Yeah, it was amazing. I was reading up about it, and I didn't know about all the people that were suspected of terrorism and stuff, and you know, people suspected of doing it deliberately and being terrorists. And to this day, they still really don't know what caused it. There's lots of theories, but no solid proof as to exactly what caused it. There you go. There you go. It's worth sometimes it's usually on a Sunday when that happens. I'll just see something and it'll send me off down a rabbit hole of reading and studying about just a specific thing. It might be the Hindenburg disaster. It might be those two brothers in New York that shut themselves away in their house for 50 years. I can't remember the name now. They've got a little Collier. They were called the Collier brothers. That was a fascinating one. Often it's because I watched it on Frederick Knudson's Down the Rabbit Hole channel, or just seen it somewhere else. Yeah. I remember spending an entire Sunday once from like 10 in the morning to the rest of the day just reading up about John Titor and Time Traveller Zero and stuff. I know it's all nonsense, but it was fascinating just reading through the history of it all. But I just got carried away. When you were stabbing those packing materials in the mailbag, I had an ambulance on standby, says Cy Reynolds. Now, when it comes to stabbing airbags, I'm a professional. I'm a hardened profesh when it comes to that. There's never been an injury when I'm stabbing airbags. I only stab myself when I'm like, you know, using soft items, or I'm doing something that shouldn't end up in stabberty. If I was juggling chainsaws, I'd never injure myself. But if I'm sitting in a comfy chair, I'd probably accidentally chainsaw my face off or something. Because it's hashtag Team Inept. Model making mayhem. So I was driving home. Holy Jeebus, it's support. Team Inept. Have you bought them colour shifters yet? Si says David, what's that model? Not yet, Dave. GSW is a dangerous website. I reckon hydrogen going bang caused it, says Team Inept. Well, that's part of it, but it's not necessarily what actually led to it. Because the problem is that hydrogen doesn't burn with a yellow flame. And a lot of people reported that the flames were just the bright yellow colour, like non-hydrogen flame, like things burning. For one point of potential combustion. And they also say if it was a hydrogen fire, it would have lasted either a lot longer, or because it's super. Nobody knows why it went all happened so fast and why it was normal flames. They thought at first it was ironically the anti-fire coating on the material that acted like a wick, and everything went up in flames. Because they think it was a spark. The thinking is it was possibly a spark that caused it, and then somehow that ignited the fire retardant coating on the material on the skin, and then that lit. There was a hole in one of the tanks, and that lit the hydrogen. But then the hydrogen kind of burned off really quickly, but the thing kept going. So they don't really know. That's the thing. There's too many contradictions. One theory was that they did too many sharp turn manoeuvres when they were coming into land, and it snapped one of the support cables, and the support cable ripped one of the hydrogen tanks, releasing the hydrogen, which at the same time something caused a flame or a spark that then lit the hydrogen, but then that lit the skin, and then the skin burned with the bright yellow. They don't really, there's too many weird contradictions. That's why it was fascinating to read, because they don't really know. And then there were people accused of setting bombs and all kinds of things. Timed explosive charges. It's just fascinating. It's not as simple and clear cut as you think. That's why I went down a rabbit hole reading it. The noise you made when stabbing them was one of a 5-year-old fox. It was alarming and amusing at the same time. Yeah, I love it. Yep, exactly. That's my 7 years old and falling out of trees mode. I occasionally do that. I go into like small child mode. If Mama Fox would let me dig a hole in the garden to look for Romans, that'd be fantastic. 5-year-old fox mode. Combined with, look, I'm Phil Harding mode. Drop. Yep, she who farts in bed has a wobbler when I look on their site, says Dave. Drop the lisp, Dave. You're not that derpy, says Mayhem. And Dave says, I can't, I've not got my new teeth yet. What are you getting? Are you getting the actual implants where they drill a titanium thing into your face and then they screw the teeth in? Is that what you're getting? If I had the money, if I had the silly money, the tens of thousands of pounds it cost, I was thinking the other day, because I grew up in the 70s, of course. In the 70s, dental care was garbage. We had a toothpaste and a toothbrush, and we were kids, and dental hygiene. Nowadays, kids are brought up, to be careful and floss and use brushes and stuff. So my teeth aren't in the best condition. They're not in the great condition. They're not falling out, but I was thinking the other day, if I had the money, I would not have a problem just getting full dental replacements. You can, if you want to, go to your dentist and say, listen, take out all my teeth and replace them with the screwed in titanium joint acrylic teeth, please. Because then you've got like a whole row of teeth. You've got all your teeth in perfect condition, and they'll last you a long time. They don't have all the... And I'm thinking, you know what? That'd be great, because then I wouldn't have to worry about ever having toothache ever again, or tooth decay, or gum disease, anything. I could just happily get on with things. I thought that would be brilliant. So if I ever make it and I get lots of money, I think that I will do that. Because I'm not afraid of going in and having all my teeth taken out. When I had those 2 teeth pulled last month or the month before, it was fine. It wasn't that bad. It didn't hurt. There was no like, oh, it hurts. None of that. I'm going to use the big fat glue for this. There was no pain, no discomfort. The only pain was a pain in the butt, because I had to sleep on the sofa for 3 days, making sure I was sat upright. And then I had to kind of eat on the other side of my mouth for for a couple of weeks, just to avoid the bit where the tooth used to be. So it didn't hurt. In fact, the dentist says to me, the nerve is in the tooth, and once you pull the tooth out, there's nothing there to actually be doing the hurty bit. So I would be, if I had the money, I'd be tempted to go in and say, can you just take out all my teeth and just take out my 1970s childhood of shame teeth, please, Northern 1970 Child of Shame. And just please replace them with... That's not in a... Hang on. I'm going to get told off by Dad here. Please replace them with a complete acrylic set fixed into my jawbone and my skull with titanium rods. I wouldn't want like removable false teeth because they're just a pain in the backside. And that's the price you see of growing up in the 70s. In a, you know, lower middle class northern lifestyle. We weren't taught like that. We just got a toothbrush and some crappy toothpaste that wasn't very good, and they said, brush your flipping teeth, you scrote. That's all you got. If I'd known about like interdental brushes and stuff and that kind of nonsense when I was a kid, I'd have perfect teeth right now. But I did not. So I can't get any glue into these little recesses here. But yeah, so there you go. I wouldn't have a problem with that. I'm sure it'd be like a bit sore and tender for a few days. But like they say, there's no nerves in that part of your jaw and upper and lower jaw, so it's not gonna you're not gonna be in agony. Your mouth might be a bit battered and bruised from being all manhandled. I would probably say knock me out. I'd probably ask to be knocked out though. Again, not because it hurts. It didn't hurt having my teeth taken out. It was just, you know, somebody yanking teeth in my face, and I'm like, oh, and I could hear the crunching. Oh, I didn't like that. So I'd say, can you just knock me out just so I can just sleep through it and wake up with a new face? But, you know, you're talking like 10, 20 grand. So, yeah, that's probably never, ever going to happen. Unless, of course, somehow you guys get me to 100,000 subscribers. And somehow those 100,000 subscribers all watch my content regularly and click on the adverts. That'd be brilliant. So remember, patreon.com/model making guru, or click the join button under any video and you can help me get the teeth I need to live my life. Oh. Start a Kickstarter. Help Fox get new teeth. Yeah, nah. With Dave though, Dave's a bit different because Dave was just gormless and fell off his scooter into a concrete post and knocked a few teeth out, so that's a bit different. Whereas me, it's just really cosmetic and laziness. I just don't want to have to look after teeth for the rest of my life. Because as I get older, of course, you can't undo the damage that a childhood of not looking after your teeth properly did. Right, swig of water because the coffee's run out. Nom, 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 nom. How many people have stopped watching now because we're talking about teeth and dentists? No one ever pays attention to the no smoking signs. We're talking about the Hindenburg. I've been watching. Simon explains why he's not been around. He says he's been watching a lot of stuff on the telly and he can't be bothered typing on the telly. Yeah, it's the pain in the bum. You've got a set of fangs like that, Model Making Mayhem. The dream is full on porcelain implants. I have read though, the reason I mentioned acrylic, you've got a choice number between acrylics and porcelain implants. I'm thinking more acrylic because if you break a porcelain implant, it can take a few weeks to get them replaced and refitted. Whereas if you damage acrylic implants, you can easily get them replaced that day or the next day. It's a lot easier and cheaper to get replacements. If you break a tooth, like a porcelain one, they have to go off and make a new one, and it takes them. Whereas acrylic ones, they can just replace them quickly. So I think for me, it'd be more convenient. Just get some acrylics and hope they don't break. Yeah, I don't get toothpaste adverts. Why would a dentist advertise something that's supposed to put them out of business? Because they wouldn't got a business. Because at the end of the day, people still want teeth moving around and jostling, and just because you look after your teeth doesn't mean they're going to be in good nick. There are diseases you can get that are irrelevant to toothpaste. Oh! Oh my God, I do apologise. I don't know where that just came from. I do apologise. That was like Force 9 from God knows where. Wow. Hello, morning. That tasted of nothing because I've not eaten anything yet today. Wow. Nothing worse than an empty burp that doesn't taste of anything. Because a burp should be a free meal, 3-second meal with no calories. Whoa. But yes. Where are we up to? Turn the page over. Turning the page. It's good fun. I had to relearn to talk afterwards. I suppose, yeah, because you've got like big teeth that aren't the same shape. It's like, I don't know. It would be weird. Epic burpage. Now do a fart. Helga's like, what's that? You filthy beast, says Dave. Why do we have nerves in our teeth? Bit of a design flaw. I know. I think it's so you can sense there's a problem and potential disease. George Gabriel's in. Holy burp. Hey, George. Welcome, buddy. Look. You're going to get battle damage on this, I'm afraid, because of this crappy fit. What happens when Games Workshop don't make the pieces? Demonical burpage. Half squig side. Typing doesn't matter, says Model Maker Mayhem. Yeah, I think so. It's so you can be aware of disease in your mouth and they're trying to do something about it, I guess. I don't know. I agree. Why do we even need nerves? Just, yeah. Now, that is worthy of an audio clip for button use. Chris, sort it out. Next is a fart, then a sneeze. The worst thing you can do is fart and sneeze at the same time. Or sneeze, and because of the sneeze, fart. Because when you do a Trump because you've sneezed, of course, when you sneeze, everything clenches. Everything clenches. And then you're trying to put like a litre of butt gas through a very, 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 very small orifice that's clenched like a vice. You get it's like popping razor blades. More tea, Vicar, says Butcher that model. That were right down my ear, says Hell. Oh, you got headphones on. Sorry about that. Wow, Tony in a live stream. What's next? On camera? Oh, I can't wait till Tony eventually gets free time and space to do the Monday e-model show. The one thing the Monday e-model show is sorely missing is its Tony. It needs a Tony in there. Seriously needs a Tony. Right, we need part 14, which is this one. I don't even need to look this one up. There's only 3 doors on this thing. Nice little 3-door number. 2 side doors, 1 top door. Not really counting hatches as doors. Aye. Then we've got these little bits of fairing. Now, there's fairing that goes over these engines, but I don't know if I want to put that on yet, in case it obscures the engines for painting, or the nozzles. Nozzles! The 105 and 104 go together to make that, so let's make them anyway. 105 and 104. Oops, hello. Right, aiming, Fox. Aiming, it's what it's all about. I'm starving. I just say that out loud with my words. Oh. Nipper's stuck in the bits. Yeah, there's these little cowlings that go over the thrust nozzles, and I don't want to make it suddenly impossible to paint the thrust nozzles. Did you say is it just nozzles, like a rocket engine, or just a nozzle? It's not a thrust nozzle. Just a nozzle. You're a nozzle. We're all nozzles. Let's get this door glued on first. Put that there because I had to take that off. Git. Thanks, Games Workshop. If he makes Mondays, I can have a week off, says Chris, and Mayhem says, no, you're not having that time off that easily. If Tony gets to go on the show, then it's a show with 5 people, not 4 people. Ironically, just so you know, Tony, no pressure or anything, but when we redid the overlays for the eModels Monday show, and I redesigned the layout, with the logo and stuff, and the pictures of us at the bottom, I actually built you into the pictures of all 4 of us. There is a version with you in it as well. I actually built that at the same time, on the off chance knowledge that you would eventually one day join us. So it's not like you got multiple choice here. You have to, because I've done the artwork and everything. For your Tommy, it's a voice over. Yeah, that's it. Raging Modeler, sorry I'm late. I have a good reason. What's her name? Ha 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 ha! Or what flavour pie is the other option. Either a pie or not a pie. This will simply attach on hair like that, you see? He's in the thumbnail already. That's true. Yeah, you're also in the thumbnail, so you've actually got a choice, Toe. You know what I mean? I just called you Toe, and that's like so 1980s suburban. Or urban, even. 1980s council estate. All right, Toe. And there we go. That is now glued in place rather nicely. Door attached. There's a hole at the top. Is there something supposed to go in there? Is that meant to be a hole? Like this bit here. Odd. This is where it tells me I'm supposed to put something inside here that I didn't know about. And I'll be like, oh, yeah. Oh. I met my friends for ice cream. They treated me for my birthday tomorrow. Ooh, what did you get me for your birthday? Happy birthday to Raging Modeler. I like the way you very stealthily put that in there. I bet you didn't meet your friends at all. I bet you just said that just so you could get in the point that it was your birthday tomorrow. The birthday boy is back. We were just talking about terrible teeth, so how was the ice cream? Oh, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, so the downside of it. My childhood was awesome, but also there were downsides like terrible dentistry. Poor dental education. Well, it's true we went to Snugberries. I have no idea what that is. What does that even mean? What's a Snugberries? I don't even know what that means. No idea what Snugberries is. Is that a thing or a place? Sounds like a 1980s nightclub that's full of like ropey blokes and frustrated middle-aged secretaries. Which, if you know Altrincham, was a club called Our Place. Yeah. Or was it Raimondo's? It might have been Raimondo's. Oh god, that was bad. Like some nightclub above an Italian restaurant. This is going back into the 80s and the 90s, this. Oh dear lord, it was terrible. Really was. Middle-aged men and frustrated secretaries. Wall to wall. Ice cream farm near Nantwich. How do you farm an ice cream farm? Do they like grow it on the vine? Aye, we got a good crop of ice cream this year. The ice cream trees have done real well. Although we had a bit of the old thrips affecting some of the crop. Because if you get thrips on your ice cream tree, then what you get is just butter. If it goes wrong, you just get butter. Which is great if you want butter, but not great if you want ice cream. No, you're right. They grow the ice cream inside the cow's boobies, Fox. Ooh, boobies. Cow boobs, or cubes, as we like to call them. See what I did there? See what I did there? Sounds like you need to see Tony for an ointment if you have a dose of the Snugberry, says Butcher that model. Apologies for the sniffle there. Ice cream was good. I had cookie dough. Ooh. If it's not salted caramel, then it's not right. Unfortunately, I can't do any of that anymore. It's not on my low-fat diet. I'd kill for some salted caramel. I would happily eat through an entire tub of salted caramel ice cream in one sitting, which is why I'm now on a low-fat diet, obviously, but those were the days. Can't go back. Do not make milk from cow bepis. No, that would be the wrong end. Beepis, even. Mubes. I'm late, hurrah, says Spid. Normality has returned. Spid turning up at the end of a stream. Always awesome. Always the way it should be. Not the end of a stream, but you know what I mean. Right, so these bits are going together like that, you see, and they make a little cowling. And they sit over like this. Sit over it like that. That's that side. That's to that side. And they go over it like that. So, what is the possibility that I can paint that effectively? Well, you know, see, I would make this cowling part silver as well, metallic silver with the engine, along with the nozzles, but I need to be able to get into the bottom of the nozzle. Bottom of the nozzle! So what I think I could do is, glue the two pieces together to make the cowling while they're in place there, so at least I can get them lined up properly. and take it off again. I need to fill the gap at the top and then take them off and then get them back, and I can put them back on later on, which means I can get into, because what I can't do is get into all these little bits down here while this cowling is on. So if I somehow carefully try to glue these together without actually gluing them in place, I might not get away with it, but if I try it, give it a minute, because I can just push them together and make them without putting them in place, but they might be not quite straight or a bit out of whack. You never know. Of course, if these actually now just glue into place by accident, then I'm just screwing. I've got to take my lumps. I'll just gently touch the glue to them, just to get a little bit of glue going in the middle, so I can at least then get them back off again in the right shape. So if I put some little touch of glue there, because they fit into a little recess, but if I get them all nice and glued in the shape, they might not be in the right shape. So I'll give that a minute. I'll pop them off in a moment. Got to split, boys and girls. Stay safe and wear your mask. 35 out of 35 out. Take care, Tony. Thanks for seeing you, mate. It's really nice to see you. Come back next time. Aim straight at Pablo, says Helgen, because Team Inept says, I miss you, Tony. Yeah, take care, buddy. Thank you for coming in. Hugs to Nats. Slaps to the kids. I jest. How you doing, George, anyway? Yes, how are you doing, George? George is with us. Not saying much, but hey, George, how you doing, buddy? John Paul, hi all. Hey, John, how you doing, mate? Right, we glued that bit on. We've glued that bit on there. Where's my pen gone? Not penguin. Where's my Sharpie gone? Oi. Oi, oi. There, underneath this filing thing. So I've done them. Done that bit. Done that bit. Bye, Tony. We'll miss you. Sacred157 says, hello all from France. Bonjour, mon ami. Puts up a hand signal with 5. I don't know what that means, but welcome. Welcome, Sacred157. You are more than welcome for joining us. Hope you are well and having a good Sunday. Now we need to make some exhausts. Exhausts. We'll come back to them cowlings in a moment. We are now going to take off these parts here. Yes, I can't wait to catch up with Ted and Chris tonight on Chris's show. See where Ted's up to with his Bane Blade. Well, wherever he was last time. I'm really enjoying watching him do a Bane Blade. Just like we said last time, not because Chris isn't entertaining, but purely because Ted is like naive and innocent of the Warhammer, so it's more of a journey of discovery for Ted. That can go there. Plunk. When the world has ceased burning, I will take you to get ice cream at the Snuggeries. It's delicious. I can't do it. I'm low fat. I can't do it. Low fat diet, dude, for cholesterol. I can't. You see what I mean? I can't. I'd love to. I would happily sit there and eat it all, but then I know I just suffer for it. I have no mouth and yet I must scream. Comes to mind. Sadness. Sadness. What's the weather like in Belfrance today, Sacred? You still getting the back of Storm Alex, or has that passed now and you're getting some decent weather? I like France. I've been to France. How many times have I been to France? Twice. I've only been to France twice. Once was to stay in a little place called Volnay, which is, I think, down in the southwest somewhere. Lovely place. It was absolutely gorgeous rural village. It was beautiful. It was such a lovely place. There was a chateau nearby. The village itself was fantastic. It was like a few houses, a couple of farms, and a sports bar. Sports bar, if I remember rightly, there was a sports bar and then like an undertaker next door. It was like the Wild West, but modern. It was fantastic. And we went into this sports bar one day. There was like a group of about 6 or 7 of us, English lads. Walked into this sports bar, and it was like all the locals were in there. Like proper rural local bar for local people. It was really nice. And we got the look because, you know, this was back in the late 90s. we got that look that says, oh, here's some British youths. They're going to be football hooligans and be noisy and raucous and violent. And we're going to have a bad time with them. However, when I started speaking French, talking French to the barman and stuff, they were like, oh, okay, you're actually kind of cool. And they all became our lifelong friends at that point. Once we actually showed the courtesy of speaking French and not just being ignorant Brits, they took a shine to us, and we got to know them really well in the end, with inviting us to barbecues and everything. It was a really nice holiday. And I've been to, I can't remember where else. I went somewhere else, but it was just a generic sort of town, city outside of Paris somewhere for work once. That wasn't very exciting. Where are we? When the world stops burning, we should all meet up and have a massive food thing. Yes, says Mayhem, yes. When the world stops burning, we should all meet up at Goblin Gaming and have a massive game of 40k. And even those of us who don't play, like me, will learn how to play. We'll just have a massive 40k fest. We'll fill up all the tables and they'll just love me forever. They'll be like, Fox, you brought hundreds of people to us. We're going to give you a Baneblade free of charge. I'll be like, yay! Because I do want to learn to play, and I will get Adam to show me how to play. When I can actually go into the public area with people and, not actually catch the death disease. Maybe in a year or two, I don't know. Whenever these things will happen. Sounds like a plan, says B3. Right, so these are making the exhausts. That's not the right way around. I could look at the instructions, but what's the fun in that? I'd much rather flail and see if I can figure out how these go together. Not like that for a start. Like that, perhaps. There we go. Do. Now, you might be wondering, on these little tiny exhaust parts, because they are split down the middle, how am I going to get rid of that seam line down the middle? That's dead easy. Dead easy. All you do is, it's a perfect example of using the glue to splooge out the holes. Got some glue in the middle. I'm using the regular extra thin, not the fast setting, because that would just set far too fast. Clumsily get it together because it's so small. Not push it together too much. More glue on the inside. And then a little bit of glue down the edges. Whoops, drop it. Oh, dropping it always helps. It's part of the process. And then a little bit of a squoz. There you go. Give it a little bit of a squeeze just to get the glue splooging out. Or rather the plastic that's melted. It's not on the back there. So when we come to sand that very lightly, the little bead of glue and melted plastic that's come out will then fill the gap. And you might be asking, what about all the little recesses where there's supposed to be holes in the exhaust? How are you going to get rid of the little seam of glue through the middle of them? You don't need to. Because when it comes to painting this, those little holes, that we're not going to drill holes in this exhaust. We could actually drill holes in this exhaust if we wanted to. And I might do, actually. It would be interesting. But you can just wash them in Agrax Earthshade and Null Oil to make them look like dark black holes. I might actually drill them out. I don't know yet. I might do. If they're exactly the right size for one of the drill bits I've got, then it's potentially I could just drill them out. That'd be fun. I like drilling out things like barrels and holes, because you can't really go wrong. Well, you can, but you have to work hard at it. I think we're all intending a Warhammer visit when it's safe, says Chris at Gross Models. Oh yeah, we want a visit to Warhammer World, but I'm thinking more Goblin Gaming, which is local to me and Adam, so we can actually go and have a game and potentially spend stupid amounts of money by accident. But yeah, because Goblin Gaming's got loads of gaming tables, tons of them, loads of different environments on the tables. So, and I've never really had a proper game, so I need to go somewhere that's big and massive with big tables and that. So. Yeah, it's only half an hour away from me. In Northwich, I think. Right, so that's that glued together. We're going to put that in the tin of waiting. I shall bring the grill and get the barbecue on. Yes. You'll have to film the get-together for those of us on the other side of the pond who can't go, said Dan Kramer. That's the problem. Whenever we do like these kind of things, my intention is always to film it, to put it up on the YouTube channel. But the problem is, I either spend all day hanging out with my friends or I spend all day filming. It's like when we go to the ICMS, you know, the Telford Model Show. The filming bit is I have to just go off for half an hour and wander around like a loon and ignore everybody. So it's really difficult. If I had someone as a sidekick who could just do the filming, that'd be great. Swig. I shall make cake. No excuses, Dan. Everyone has to attend. Yes, spend money by accident, says the Raging Modeler. Okay, right, so that's them gluing. What's next after those exhausts? I'll show you filing them in a minute. Because the good thing with that glue, if we're making the glue to seal the gap, you only have to leave it for like half an hour before you can sand it. Something that small. Right, now we have to build the weaponage and the cupola. So we can make this. We did film and it was a little bit and turned into carnage. Yes. Now, I like bolters. I don't care what you say. I like bolters purely because I like making them and drilling the barrels out. Except these don't need drilling out. I could put twin las cannons on there. Or I could put twin bolters, heavy bolters. But you know what? I like bolters. And I cannot lie. Some other brothers would deny. So, I'm not that I'm going to play this. George, I've decided for you. You're going to have bolters all over. It's going to be covered in bolters. Bolters all the way. So, we need some parts. Because now I can finally glue this roof on. So, like there, to see. That bit that fits that gave me grief earlier on. So, we need 1, 2, 3 and 23 and 22 and okay, 1, 2, 3 and 23 is the first one. Not that sprue. No, not that sprue. It's going to be this sprue. Yes. I'm a sprue. How do you do? 1, 2, 3 and 23. 1, 2, 3 and 23. So we need 1, 2, 3. Let's see if we can figure this out. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Look for the bits that look like bolters, Fox. It's the only way you're going to find these damn things. Yeah, pretty much. There we go. 1, 2, 3, and that's 23. Quite big, actually. Apologies if I'm off camera. 1, 2, 3, and 23. That was 23. I need 1, 2, 3 now, don't I? Gentlemen, find your bolters. Yeah, it's my bolter. Please don't tell me it's on one of the other sprues that I just totally didn't notice. Or is it going to be a tiny bit? It's going to be a tiny bit. Oh, it's a molecular piece. It is a tiny molecule piece. Oh, there we go. 1, 2, 3. There we go. Tiny. Microscopic. The safety. The bacon sarnie is wearing off. Need the roast beef dinner now. Oh, roast beef dinner with all the beef and roast. I'll go to Warhammer World, but someone will have to chaperone my wallet. Well, how are we going to do that? Because we'll be too busy panicking about our own wallets. I'm happy to go to Warhammer World, but somebody will have to we'll have to get someone really, really fat who can physically block the entrance to Forge World, so I have no way to get in. Like, seriously, someone who will be a perfect goalie. They need to just stand in that doorway and just block me. Otherwise, you know, I'm just going to go in Forge World and have moments of sadness. Where's that other nub? That's right on the end there. Okay, that's easy. A bit of sandy here. Has anybody got BritBox? Have you seen that new spitting image? I have no intention of getting BritBox. Anybody seen it? I saw the trailer for it and it seemed a bit crap. The humour was like... The cat clan. There's something funny about these people. That's not actually funny. Yeah, the little bit I saw was not very interesting. The little trailer didn't seem funny at all. So that quote only works for Space Marines, Fox. You will be find your gun that's like a torch in your womble mask, lads. Wait, what? What are we talking about? What quote? Deathcore may wear womble masks, but they're womble masks that will kick your ass with the trenching tool. So yeah. Don't you diss my Deathcore. Better than your la-di-da Ponzi Fantasy Gold Boys nonsense. I don't know. Dissing my Deathcore. Anyway, the Deathcore don't have flashlights, they have hotshot flashlights, which are more flash. You need to glue on the bit of barrel. Glue on the barrel. Now, thankfully, this is squished together, and the little bit of glue on there, because it's so small, that little bit of glue, again, will just perfectly fill that little gap. I hope. And the beauty is, of course, I won't need to drill it out. It's a pre-drilled barrel. Drill out the barrel. So all it needs when that's glued, when that's set, is just a quick little, very, very light sandy, like that, and it'll seamless barrel. Seamless barrel. Don't mean to Fox's Deathcore. They're armless. Ha ha! You get. No. And aimless. Oh, just shut up now. Honestly, I will build the Deathcore army, and I will kick all your asses with them. What am I doing? Oh yes, more bolter. More bolter. I think I can use my god hands for these. The little piece here. Biscuit for a biscuit with my god hand nippers. Rather than my Mr. Hobby, Mr. Tool, Mr. Nipper nippers. Mr. Nipper nipper. And then the other half is that one there. Is that right though? There was no Craftsman video last Sunday. I'm pining. I didn't get a Craftsman video. I got worried because he'd not put a video up, and I'm like, oh, where's Craftsman? I could have just checked his Facebook page and I would have found out, maybe, possibly, but I hope we get one this week. I missed my Craftsman fix last week. He could be on holiday. Be away, but you know, when Craftsman doesn't put a video up, I'm like, no, where? What's going on? Mr. Hobby, Mr. Tool, Mr. Nipper, Mr. Fine, Mr. Sharp, Mr. Pointy, says and they said Mr. Mayhem then. Says Mr. Mayhem. Yes, I will save some pennies next year, and I will acquire many Deathcore, pre-made Deathcore troops that I can then paint up, because I refuse to ever build a Deathcore, unless it's like a 3-man heavy weapons squad or something like that, because then it's just like 3 dudes or 2 dudes. You get some of the 2-dude heavy mortar squads. I'll do them. I'm not gonna make any infantry squads and stuff. Not after that last experience, which was garbage. I don't like being angry when I'm making things. So I'll get some that are like, you know, you buy them on eBay and they're like pre-built and primed, but that's as far as they got. I can work with that. I can work with that. Mr. Hobby, Mr. Mark, Mr. Softer, Mr. Setter, Mr. Solution. Mr. Hobby, Mr. Mark, Mr. Softer, Mr. Dobelina, paging Mr. Dobelina. When I was a kid, I don't know what song it was from. I've got no idea. I was a kid, and I used to have a little radio in my bedroom when I went to bed at night, and I listened to Piccadilly 261 radio in the evening. Listened to Timmy Mallet, the 80s. And I just have a vague memory of at one point listening to the radio, and there was a song, and all I remember is the phrase, paging Mr. Dobelina, Mr. Bob Dobelina. And I've got no idea where it's from. I must look it up at some point. I'm sure somebody will now. And for some reason, here we are 30 or 40 years later, it's stuck with me. Paging Mr. Dobelina, Mr. Bob Dob. I don't remember anything about the song. Paging Mr. Dobelina, Mr. Bob Dobelina. And I want to know who Bob Dobelina was. Good Lord. Timmy Mallet. Timmy. What's his second name? Mallet. Yeah, going back to when Timmy Mallet was on Piccadilly 261 radio, before he got on TV. I was like 10 or 14 or 13 or something. I was a child, I didn't know. What song says Model Making Mayhem? That's the point. I don't know. All I remember is the line, paging Mr. Dobalina, Mr. Bob Dobalina. Like as if it was over like an airport intercom system spoken. Paging Mr. Dobalina, Mr. Bob Dobalina. I don't know why it stuck in my head. I've just been in there ever since. It might have been in the 80s. I don't know. Maybe I heard it in the common room at secondary school. Or maybe I heard it when I was a younger kid. I'm kind of lost on the time now. It might be when I was a younger kid and I used to listen to the radio when I went to bed. A little tiny transistor radio. Or, this is in the late 70s, 80s. Or it might have been on the radio in the common room at secondary school when I was a teenager on a song. I have no idea. No idea where it came from. Little barrel glued. Gentlemen, glue your barrels. Roger, gluing now. Open, glue and squish on Zulu. Roger, moving now. Ding Chavez. There you go. There's a gaming reference for you. Cool. Bolter number 2 done. Anything to do with the monkeys? I've just done a Google. No, that was like 1960s, dude. I'm not that old. Paging Mr. Doubleina, Mr. Bob Double. I don't know what it was. Hey, part number 21. 21 today. I actually remember my 21st birthday. It was a long time ago. Long time ago. I realised today, actually, you know when you have that moment when you just realise something weird and arcane and it terrifies you? I realised that more time has passed between me leaving secondary school and now than between the end of World War II and me being born. Oh, I don't like that. I don't like that kind of thinking. I don't like that kind of numbers. No. Oh. Yeah, it's not right. Oh, almost. Wait, 45. Yeah, right. More time has passed between me leaving school and now than between me being born and the end of World War II. That's terrifying. Especially when I think, you know, what life was like at the end of World War II compared to what life was like the year I was born, and then comparing what life was like when I left school to what life is like now. And it's not that different. You know, we've got an internet and a bit more technology, but life now is not vastly different from where it was when I left school. Not massively different. But, you know, the difference between 45 and when I was born is a vast gulf. It's weird the way you think about it sometimes. So this needs to go on here, like that, to see. These just attach into said device here. Like that. Gluing in me bolters! Upside down. Probably not a good idea. There's always one that wants to stay in and one that doesn't want to stay in, isn't there? Oh, with the ping. There you go. Now, if I glue these in, can I actually paint these puppies once? Wait. No, that's the wrong way around. That's on that side. Und also, that is on this side. Ja, das ist richtig. That goes in there like that, you see. Twin heavy bolters, I like that. I assume they're twin linked. I can glue those in now. I might make painting later challenging, but not impossible. Not impossible. Now I'm going to glue them in place. I'm not going to leave them rotatable. The thing about leaving things rotatable is either you need to be able to do sub-assemblies and like paint this completely, put it in place, and then paint this completely and glue that on. Or you need to have fun times trying to paint things that you can't get to because you can move around. And more often than not, I'm not going to bother like with movable turrets and stuff, because I'm going to have enough time challenge, you know, getting all this painted up. If I do any airbrush work on this, I don't want to be airbrushing this separately and it doesn't match up. So I think we're just going to glue the weapons into place, because it doesn't really matter when you're playing the game. It's not like you have to point the weapons at the thing you're shooting at when you play 40k anyway. And in reality, ultimately, what's probably going to happen is George is going to get these and they're going to become shelf queens. And they're going to look pretty on a shelf. It doesn't really matter. There's not really a situation where you're going to move the guns around that much. So I shall put them in a jaunty pose. Not just going to have them pointing straight forward because that's boring. I'll have them maybe askance to one side, mayhap. I can still get to them to file them and clean up the barrels. Clean up the barrels. Clean up the barrels of guns. You see what I did there? Very clever. We'll have them at a jaunty angle like that, you see. And I shall put a little bit of the glue of happiness. Copy pasta from the internet. Mr. Dobalina is a song by American hip-hop musician Del the Funky Homo Sapien. Never heard of that at all. Although I remember doing a Google search once for Bob Dobalina, but I spell it Dobolina. And I think there was actually somebody called Bob Dobalina. Because I remember thinking to myself in the way that I do, I wonder if that actually meant to be, is there actually somebody called Bob Dobalina and they're actually using his name? Is it like his mate or something? So I did wonder. Right, that's glued in at a jaunty angle. We like that. Nice and straight and true. Jolly good. And now we need to attach the roofingtons. Yeah, you're not supposed to glue that so you can spin it round, but I can't be fussed with that. It's not going to get moved once it's even in play. So it's just going to look pretty and be put in place. There you go. Right, so that goes on there like that. We can now quickly glue this in with some regular Tamiya cements. Oh, I need to clean this up first, don't I? Oh, yeah. For fun, you can use magnets on the bottom of the guns to keep them mobile, says Ian Thompson. Yeah, it's a lot of work. A lot of work. If I was selling it, I'd probably do that to maximise what I can sell it for. Because then what you would do is, obviously, if I was doing it as a build to be sold, or for myself, for example, I might magnetise those bolters so I can swap them out with other weapons. But it's... No, I'm not going to do it for this one. Because, you know, George is waiting for these one day. He wants to get his Space Marine stuff. The more funky stuff I start doing, the longer it takes. He's already been waiting for ages. I've not even started painting anything yet, so... Well, that's that bit. Oh no, you mean actual building for Fox? Yeah, no. Not a builder, painter. I think Mama Fox just dropped something downstairs, but I'm not sure what. I should probably go and check. I'm going to finish in a minute anyway, so I should go make sure she's not dropped something and anything untoward. Yeah, painter, not a builder, so anything like that I want to get funky with magnets or do anything experimental, I'm not really keen to do it. Also, you know, as well as I'm not keen to do it on something that somebody else already owns, because, you know, these are for George. He's paid for these. So if I was doing it just for myself or doing it to sell it, then I wouldn't be so, you know, I wouldn't have a problem doing it, because then if it goes wrong, I just don't sell it. It's my own fault and I lose out. But if I'm doing it for somebody else, you know, George already owns these, so I don't want to do it and mess it up. I'm not a practical builder at all. I don't have those kind of skills. So I don't want to get too advanced and complicated. Unless I know what I'm doing. I want to play to my strengths. I think that was Mama Fox actually rotating my breasts. Which is a bit late now. I asked her to turn the chicken breasts over so they can defrost on both sides. But I was kind of hoping she'd do it like about an hour and a half ago. Never mind. I don't know. La 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 la. My Google Foo says it's a Monkeys song. I know, weird, huh? Bob Dobalina, Peruvian party powder. Probably your breast now on the floor for the next door's cat. That's true. That'll be a plump cat. Yes. Thank you. I can hear her fettling about in the kitchen. You might not be wrong. She might have dropped it. In which case, no chicken for us tonight then. Something else completely. Right, I think that's cleaned up. Rid of this mould line that goes right down the middle. Right down the middle. Get it attachificated. Yes, so don't forget tonight, 8:30 on Chris's channel, Gross Models. It's Chris doing Warhammer Sunday, but it's also Ted as well. It's a joint stream. Ted carrying on with his Baneblade. Ted won't know what's going on if it's 8:30. He'll be still halfway through his dinner. So make sure to set that time aside tonight when it comes to watching things. Make sure you've had your tea and got settled down. Thankfully, I'll have had my tea by then, so I'll be able to watch. I always feel bad when people do streams at like 6 o'clock or something, because I'm always like, that's when I'm making the dinner, so I always miss like Dad's stream. Scaly model stream. It's not chicken, but it'll do, she said, as she knew Mr. Wilson 3 doors down wouldn't miss 3 fat pigeons. Marcin Jez says, hello Foxy, hello Marcin. Marcin? I don't know, French, maybe? Tell me on the correct pronunciation. But welcome. Mackie D, says Ian Thompson. Low fat, dude. Mama Fox would love Mackie D's, but my arteries, my cholesterol level would not, sadly. Even though I have occasionally broken a little bit and had some KFC, perhaps, of occasion, but yes. Poland. Oh, Marcin, welcome. Welcome, my friend. We're about to finish in a few moments, so I do apologise, but you're more than welcome to hang around for a minute. Until we do. Hope you are well. I'm having a good time in Poland today. What's the weather like over there? I'm British, I have to ask what the weather is everywhere. We don't need to ask our American friends, because the weather in America is just everything's on fire, in every sense of the word, so we don't need to ask our American friends. Right, I think that's done. Let's get this stuff off here. You can always have the salad. We don't have any salad. If it came to the crunch, I'd still make Fox's mess, but I'd just make some hot dogs to chop up into it. It's always a good standby, hot dogs. Get a pack of 10 hot dogs, chop them up into bits, add them into Fox's mess. Happiness will ensue. Trust me on that. Right, let's glue this puppy on. Dan Kramer says, yeah, pretty much. Yeah, that's the weather in America right now. Everything's on fire. Right, so this needs to, there's nothing else needs to go on here. It's just literally that part. Just double check before I dumbass my way through it. No, that's them and that's them. There we go. Jolly D. So we can just... I actually want to try Fox's mess because it sounds yummy. Dead simple. All you do, literally do, get yourself a big pan of water, set the water to boiling, chop up some carrots, slice up some carrots, put the carrots in, give them 5 minutes, boil for 5 minutes. Then, because carrots take a bit longer, after about 5 minutes, add in, get a whole mess of new potatoes, that kind of size, you know, like 10, 11 of them. Slice them into little round slices, not little tiny chunks, little round slices. Slice them up. Slice up some cabbage into small pieces. Slice up some onions, red onions, has to be red onions. Chop up some red onions. And if you want to, you can chop up some spring onions as well. And all you do is, after the carrots have had about 5 minutes, you just dump all the rest of that stuff into the pan. Give it 20 minutes. When it's had 20 minutes, you drain off the water. You then add a big, huge, massive amount of low-fat type sunflower spread type stuff. Not butter, obviously, because you'll die. You can do butter if you want. I wouldn't recommend it. There's a big, and I mean a lot of it. You want to put in a lot of dark soy sauce. Preferably, I've forgotten the brand name now, so I won't say, I can't remember now. Dark soy sauce, you want to add a big splodge of mayonnaise, and you can add some fish sauce if you have some Vietnamese fish sauce. That works quite nicely, it gives it a little bit of a tang, only a tiny amount there, like a couple of drops. If you have some hamburger dressing, the stuff that looks and tastes like McDonald's Big Mac dressing, we had some of that, you can add some of that. And then you munge it all up till it's the mayonnaise and the stuff give it a slight stickiness. It's not dry then. Gives it a slight moist. And that's Fox's mess. Dead simple. And then if you've got hot dogs, you chop up the hot dogs and boil them separately and just put them in. If you've got bacon, you chop that up, put it in. If you've got meatballs, I chop them up, I put them in. This is once they've cooked. Normal sausages, chop them up, put them in. Any meat at all, chop it up, cook it, put it in. Done. That's Fox's mess. Because you can put anything with Fox's mess. And make sure you get a lot, because it's just great to eat. It's wholesome and healthy. And if you put some sort of non-healthy meat in there, it's kind of counteracted by the wholesome, healthy potato and cabbage and onion and bits. Have you ever considered opening up a cooking channel? No, because I actually hate cooking. I hate cooking with a passion. The only reason I do Fox's mess is because all I have to do is chop things up and turn the gas up to full, and that's it. There's no cooking. It's like literally chop stuff up, put it in a pan, go off and do something for 20 minutes, come back. If the cooking involves anything more than setting a timer, I'm not interested. I just want to eat. I don't want to cook. Right, so that is that done. That is that roof. Apparently the pub lunch did not fill up. The boss and I am doing barbecue pulled pork for supper. I'll say that all again because that was rubbish when I said that. B3 says, apparently the pub lunch did not fill up. The boss and I'm barbecue doing a pulled pork for supper. Cool. I want to try shut it. Yeah, I'm not giggling, it's wind. Part of me has always wanted to do a cooking channel, but I swear all the fucking time so it wouldn't get anywhere. You made me do a swear without realising it then, you gimp. Oh well, never mind. Too late now. Can't go back. I'll just put a little bit of glue in here. Remember I did these little cowlings earlier on? Well, they've come out now. I can cut some glue in the back bit and squish it. Ooh, a little bit of excess there. I only glue them at the front just to hold them together. So now I can glue them at the back. Put a bit more on the front piece here so I can... Front piece. So I can squeeze the glue out. So when that is dry, I can quickly give that a light sand and it will get rid of any excess polystyrene that's splooged out. And I've got rid of the seam line and glued it together at the same time. What I'll need to do, of course, is paint these separately. And then when everything's painted up, I can attach them on the back of the engine, back of the vehicle. I'm just squeezing the glue out. You have to give it a few seconds to allow the glue to melt the plastic a bit. And then when you squeeze it, the plastic gluey plastic splooges out, fills the gap and makes a little bead and you sand that back, no problem. And you can see it's done that on the exhaust there. So I'm going to leave them for another, say, half hour, 20 minutes with these as well. And on the bolters, I'll have to go around the barrels on them. And I'll give them a quick sand. I might do that next week or I might do it later. I don't know yet. But I think we're going to call it there. I need to go make sure Mama Fox hasn't broken the entire kitchen. Or knackered me chicken breasts. I missed that. Seems to work for Gordon Ramsay. Swearing seems to work for Gordon. Yeah, it does. Right. So, anyway. I got in victory. I win the internet today, says Paul at Team Net for making me swear. Well, yes, I know. Anyway, never mind. That's going to do us for today. I think we'll call it there. That's going to be a show. Thank you very much for watching. We'll carry on with this next week. It's going better now. I'm not having to deal with nonsense. I might get some plastic card ready to cover these up. But I think what we'll do is, once we've built everything else, we'll do some battle damage to cover that one up, I think. Big impact, like ding on the fender there might go quite nicely. Look at that, that's garbage. Absolute garbage. Anyway, that's going to do us. Thank you very much for watching. Don't forget, as always, I will be back tomorrow on emodels.co.uk's Monday show. That's emodels.co.uk, your one-stop shop for your model making needs. And don't forget to go and watch Chris and Ted tonight on Chris's channel, Gross Models, at 8:30 this evening. Don't forget, as always, if you would like to support this channel and you don't already support this channel, you can do it in a few ways. You can become a Patreon patron at patreon.com/modelmakingguru. The address is there. You can help support this channel, keep the lights on, keep me in kits and equipment, and help me keep doing this for a living. Or you can just click the join button underneath any of my videos. You can become a YouTube member and do the same thing. And if you're a patron or a member, you actually get access to a lot of stuff a week early and advert free in early access. Not everything, but most stuff. Early access, week early, ad free for members and YouTube, for members and patrons. Of course, just make sure you like and subscribe. And until next time, I shall say thank you very much for watching. Take care of yourself. I'm dying for a wee now, actually, as well. Take care of yourself. Go make something awesome. I'll just make sure my buttons still work. Oh, yes, they do. I'll give you a little bonus, Ted.
Slap it on.
In honour of Ted being back. And I shall say, take care of yourselves. Go make something awesome. Go be awesome. And until next time, adios, amigo.